Boo. Skibbity Rizzler. Why am I playing this song again? We've already done the intro. Bye. What's up, guys? What's up, guys, girls, and everyone? Is it still sounding like ass, or is it still seems better so far? Hey. Sounds better, Slurpy. Amazing. What's up, brother?
Hello.
Here we are. This is already so much better.
Well,
I'm telling you. Maybe I'm the one. Maybe I have to be the one who presses the button.
Perhaps it was just, I don't know. Like I said, sometimes we refresh it, whatever. And
I don't know.
Like, I'm glad they've all come over.
Yeah, again, usually when that happens, it's just a reboot tweak. Yeah, a bit better. So a bit better.
Get off my chat.
What?
To get off my chat.
But we're all right now. We're just waiting on Cool Han to join. With your internet, Slurpy, being powered by potatoes. Damn. Cool Han's still live on the other stream. Oh my days. Can you guys tell him to come over here? It's already better.
Yeah, everyone's saying it's much better, so that's good. So, okay, welcome to the episode 49, part 2.
Clearest you've ever sounded, Slurpy. Oh, damn. Well, look here, guys. My video currently is at 360p, and if I change it to 720, do I look clear or do I look worse? How is it sounding? We're powered with starch and carbohydrates right now. Potato.
Right, so where's Martin then?
Yeah. Unfortunately, I can hear the Irish accent perfectly.
That's how rude.
Yeah, Andrew.
That's your friend there, isn't it? Is that your...
Yeah. Atta boy, Slurpy. Atta boy.
Oh.
All it took was a little bit of 21st century knowledge to kind of get this going, hey. I still don't know if my picture quality is clear or what.
Yeah, it's fine. I mean, it's half used like in a shadow, but that's, you know.
Yeah. It doesn't help that, I do that and then it's like...
I got the sun this side coming through the windows. It'll be dark soon, mate. Give it another half an hour.
Can you guys please, tell Martin Cool Han to, jump on over here? What is he at? He's still streaming, isn't he? He's still streaming.
Don't know. He's probably doing what he did the other week. There he comes.
Oh, there he is. Yay. No, wait a minute. Is his really slow?
There he is.
Guys, don't use the soundboard.
Right.
The soundboard has corrupted our stream.
I wonder, is it the audio I uploaded?
Yeah, I think it is. Muggsy, the absolute legend that he is, and why he's earned that badge. Muggsy went back on the stream and he said everything sounded fine until we used a sound, and then it went to shit.
So even the ones that they've put on as well.
Don't touch it till the end.
It might have corrupted it. Not only that, but StreamYard literally introduced it a few days ago. It's a brand new feature, so I'd rather not mess with it, especially the ones that we added. So maybe just delete off the ones we've added, and then towards the end of the stream, we'll try the ones that StreamYard have put in and see if it messes it up. But unfortunately,
no, I'll keep the fart and all till after. I mean, pause. I want to try them out at the end. See
Yeah,
what's
try them all out at the end, right at the end. That'd be fine. Because
mate, I was on fire in this stream as well. What's the chances that the 1 week we were like, yeah, we're gonna fine tune things, we're gonna do things better, we're gonna do all this stuff, and it goes to shit anyway.
Sod's law, mate. It's Sod's law. Always happens. Like
Burke's
you say,
law.
but you know, I will come up with a saying: why fix something if it's not broken?
Yeah, but I don't know.
It was nice and smooth, and then like
there was nothing wrong with black and white movies either, mate. But you know, we had to move forward.
There was no colour in them.
The soundboard just filled up the audio.
He likes my jokes.
There was no pink. Okay, so look, I'm glad we're back. And what we're going to do is we'll dispense with any other niceties. Guys, if you didn't hear everything from our probably the best opening we've ever had to a show in 49 episodes that was ruined by StreamYard once again. I ain't going to go down the StreamYard hate road again. Nobody wants that PTSD, but we're not going to waste any more time. We've got somebody who's been waiting in the wings and very, very patient. And let's not, unfortunately, guest, we can't be doing applause when you come in like it was originally planned because I don't want to risk it.
Do a natural one. Just, you know.
Yeah. So ready?
Yeah.
Yay! PinkWheels.
This is the Legoland wave.
I've seen that somewhere before. That's amazing. Okay, so look, apologies.
Oh, no worries.
And thank you for being so patient throughout that whole situation. It's quite ironic, actually, because you, Meredith, were having some audio issues before sort of we even went live.
And then I have a separate router down here that the laptop should switch to, and it didn't. And then it was saying, well, we don't remember the password to it. So I had to go crawl in the utility closet and find the back of the router. The sacrifices we make for these shows, I tell you. I don't know why I use this laptop down here a lot. It should remember the password, but
yeah,
I digress.
But this stuff only ever goes wrong when we really need it and in a bind as well. So,
but that's like a sign to be like, do you really want to join the stream?
That should have told you everything you need to know. But guys, if you're in the chat, and obviously you made some fantastic comments, which we didn't get a chance to read out, please repeat them here. And Whittakee is going to be with you shortly to call out the chat. What's he saying?
That was a myth.
But like Whittakee said, you know, why change a habit of a lifetime? It's always a mess, but this time it's a different type of mess. So
yeah, it was out of our control this time.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it kind of wasn't because we decided to upload some fat noises.
But we didn't know because he said it was the Boo one, and that's one of theirs. So
yeah,
should have worked.
True. It is weird how something like can corrupt it, but again, new feature.
The music's all right, yeah. All the music that we played, that was fine.
We'll find out.
Yeah, I guess we'll find out in the fullness of time. So I just wanna give like huge props to our guest for doing something that no guest before has ever done. And I want to say probably no guest on any other show has ever done in terms of like overachiever. Now, I always reach out to the people who are going to be on the show and say, what would you like to talk about? What's your area of expertise? You know, we've got a few topics, whatever it might be. And I've got responses that range from unread to an emoji, like a yes, to it's fine, whatever, I don't mind. Maybe I can. And then the best one I've probably had in the past is I'm happy to talk about such and such. With PinkWheels, I've had like the perfect answer. I'm not going to say it's War and Peace because it's basically the kind of answer I would have given. So it's like, you know, we're the same person in that way. But it's like, I will talk about this, I can talk about this, I can talk about that. And not only the fantastic, perfect answer, because it takes pressure off me when I know this person is willing to talk in general and got lots to talk about. But the guest is like that eager, if that makes sense. But also because some of the things that you said that you'd like to talk about are things that we probably haven't really covered on this show before. And, you know, without sort of being rude to the other people, because this includes me too, don't really know enough about, or a lot about, and probably should know more about as Lego fans. So it's nice to have somebody in here who can basically shed light on some elements of the Lego community, if you like, as a whole, and kind of show some stuff off. So what I did personally, because Slurpy's got all the videos and pictures and stuff that you've sent in, which we're going to show off. But what I've personally done is I've gone through your Instagram feed and picked out some of the fantastic MOCs. I know some of those are going to be showcased anyway, but some of the ones that you haven't showcased, as in you've sent, because I think they're outstanding and I really like them. So I want to kind of throw those up as a kind of like, almost like, do you remember Art Attack, Whittakee, where you used to have the gallery at the end?
I remember that.
Look, so I want to do something like that. And I think that's going to be great. So I'm really looking forward to that. But before we do that, tell us about, for the people who don't know you, which I can't see that being the case for many, but for the people who don't know you, tell us a little bit about you, where PinkWheels came from and your sort of story with Lego, and we'll all just kind of drink our tea.
So I live in Atlanta, Georgia, here in the U.S., where I no longer can get Lego from Europe. I had a dark age. The last set I owned when I was like 11 or 12 was the Paradisia poolside house. It was awesome. But my brother and I had a lot of Space Police, kind of like the late 80s, early 90s sets, and we had a good amount of them. And like everyone, you grow up, and nerddom was not cool in the 90s and 2000s, and now being a nerd is cool again. So I had a daughter when I was about 31, and I had my daughter, and my husband was the same way. He had like 2 monorails. The boy was spoiled when he was growing up. So he was a big Lego fan when he was a kid. And like, I think a lot of AFOLs, you have a kid, and then, when she was about 4 or 5-ish, like, I think we just bought a bulk lug of Mega Block that someone was selling on Facebook Marketplace for like $15, just like dirt cheap. And it was a huge bin, and it was Mega Block. And we just all had way too much fun with it. And I'm like, we should get some real Lego, like not just Facebook Marketplace Mega Blocks. And that sort of kicked off for like that was probably like 2016, 2017. And so that kind of kicked off, the AFOL-dom, as people like to say. And that's kind of where it started. And we were really lucky that in Atlanta, we had this dude that was his whole side business that became his main business was he would buy bulk used Lego lots from Goodwill, which is like a thrift shop. That's a nationwide thrift shop, and some other places, and eBay. And he'd buy these giant bulk lots, and he had people here in Atlanta, because we have a good size lug, that he would give us the lots and say, sort them by color. And you could keep 10 or 15% by weight. I can't remember. And these lots would have full sets. Sometimes they'd have minifigs. So my husband did that. My husband loved doing that because he was traveling for work. And when he was traveling for work, it was regional. So he'd throw like a 30-pound bin in his back of his car, and he would sit around at night in the hotels because there's nothing else to do. You're in the middle of nowhere, South Georgia or Tennessee, and he didn't want to go out. So he would be in the hotel just sorting Lego. And we got an epic amount of free Lego doing that. And a lot of minifigs, and that's kind of where it went. And that, as I said, that was about 2017, 2018. And then we joined our local lug and met some great friends who really encouraged us to start mocking. And to be honest, it's become now more of an obsession. Like, I don't think we were working on the One Piece ship. My daughter and I were about a week ago when she was sick with a cold, a back to school cold. But like, I think I've become a little bit more of an obsessive mocker than set builder lately. But, there are just some sets that I absolutely love. And like the recent one that's probably my most favorite is the Starry Night. The colors and the methods and the overall just like look of it, like it's in my living room because it's, to me, that nice. So yeah, that's kind of how it got started. And the one thing about this community, whether you're a set collector or kind of, you know, whatever you like about Lego, you know, people are really, you know, I'd say like 98% of the time really welcoming, and, you know, you learn so much from other, you know, people, especially with the mocking. And so I kind of just stuck my nose into various collabs and ended up running my own collab, and it's been a lot of fun. I've met, you know, friends. I have friends now all over the world. You know, I got like I think Greg sent me something when I was sick, and, you know, I have friends now in Europe and Canada, and it's just something that's, how do I say, it's just so unique and so different that you have all these people bound together by their love of this interlocking brick system, but it becomes such more expansive. And the name PinkWheels is just a handle I've used forever. Because before we had my daughter, my husband and I both were into amateur motorsports. And at some point we were spending somewhere around 25 to 28 weekends a year at events, whether they were what we call autocross. It's parking lot racing, but it's like the cheapest bang for your buck motorsport, sanctioned motorsport, or we would do what's called lapping days or track days, where you'd go to an actual racetrack, but you're just driving around it for fun. You're not racing or doing anything. And then obviously when my daughter came along, that's not necessarily a bring your baby to a sport event. So we kind of put a pause on that. We still do it. We still have two track cars that we occasionally, you know, drop off the kid with my mother-in-law with Graham. She goes with Mimi, and we'll go do, you know, a track event or something. But it's also like really expensive. You think Lego's expensive? Tracking your car is really expensive. So what happened is, back when we were autocrossing and doing competitive autocrosses, is my husband thought it'd be hilarious to paint my wheels pink. I had a Subaru at the time, a Subaru STI, and you guys know, you're in Europe. Back in the initial days of racing, every country had its racing color, like British racing green. Well, Japan's racing color is cherry blossom red. It's pink. And so because it was Subaru used pink for all of its performance colors. So like if you bought like a performance part, it would always have what's called the STI badge on it, and the STI badge was pink, even though they said it was cherry blossom red. So my husband we had a set of cheap, like, you know, stock rims that I would use for our racing tires, and he went and just got a pink Krylon. I think it was Very Berry from the local hardware store, because they were like really cheap rims. They were very, you know, heavy. I think we spent like $300 on them, and he painted them pink, and it was a hoot, because he's like, you know, I feel bad when you beat me. How do you think other people are going to feel when this woman shows up with a pink wheel car? So, and that's why we always just would call it PinkWheels. But here's from the 2008 Subi Sport, me as a baby 20 years ago, in my pink rims.
Wow.
Cool.
Oh, that's class.
Yeah, and I even had pink numbers that go along with it. Yeah, it was just a big fun.
What magazine is that?
So it's okay. Do you guys have much of a, like car culture in like UK and Ireland?
Yes.
Yeah. So
maybe. I don't know.
Car culture was huge in Atlanta. Like I know LA, like Shai will talk about car culture in LA, which is probably still, like in the US at least, the number one city for car culture. But there was huge car culture in Atlanta when I graduated college, and that's how I met most of my post-college friends. And so a lot of the manufacturer, you know, fandoms had their own magazines. This one was called Subi Sport. It only had Subarus.
Right. Okay. Well,
yeah, one of my friends wrote for them, and he's like, let's do, because my husband at the time had an Evo, a Mitsubishi Lightyear Evolution. And so it was a, you know, him versus me article. He actually beat me, though, by like a 1/10 of a second. There's my
mental
baby. Where is he? My baby husband 20 years ago. Look at those baby cheeks. And that's our friend. We had a friend that came in and drove both cars then, and he kind of was the the pace setter to see what would the car could do, because he was a faster driver than us. So that's where the PinkWheels name came from. And just anytime I join a forum or anything, it was just, you need a username, and PinkWheels it was. So
wow, I wish I had a backstory.
Yeah,
Do you know what? Do you know why Whittakee's handle is Whittakee? It's because his name's Whittaker, and that's it.
No, that's right.
No, I'm joking. But that's such a really cool backstory, and I thought my name was quite well thought out, but now I think I really just took a snooze on that one. But no, it's good. It's good that it connects.
Yeah.
Your name is not what I thought. Where I thought you got it from. There, that's the thing.
Everyone just assumes I love pink, or I don't know. Like, I know here and there's a makeup company called Mary Kay where people sell it like door to door, like moms sell it door to door, and you can get a pink Mary Kay car. So like maybe they thought I was like a Mary Kay I don't know. It was just something fun, and then everyone knew me as the chick with the pink wheels. So that's what it was, and forever has been for the last 20 years.
We're gonna shout out the chat in a sec, but yeah. I really feel stupid now for leaning into the pink so much. But
no, I mean, it's great. Like Greg sent me a pink hat. People send me pink stuff all the time, and it's very fun.
I mean, it's still the word anyway, regardless of whether it's your favorite color. But when I was looking through your Instagram to try and I do this, believe it or not, and this is the bit that these guys probably don't know that I actually do in terms of work for the show. Is I try to do a little bit of research, but also try to get a vibe as to what that person is about, and try to kind of tailor it to them. Like this symbol in the corner is the first time we've ever done this, where it's like, our symbol, your symbol together. And we're going to do that for every show. But just in general, I was looking at the kind of, what you want to call it, cyberpunk sort of Neo-Tokyo type vibe in terms of that might not be your lifestyle, but in terms of your aesthetic with your Lego building. At least, one section of it, which we're going to get into a little bit later. But so I was just kind of like, right, okay, so let's make something a little bit, obviously the pink, because with the pink, but also just try to make it a little bit kind of fresh, and a little bit exciting. So, we've got the pink Lego ice cubes in the background, so it's still a reflection of both. And that took me hours. No,
I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. It's fine. I was joking. It didn't take me hours at all. This is a joke because it took almost no time whatsoever. But so yeah, we're gonna hand over to Whittakee now. He's going to shout out the chat. And again, guys, if you were in the other stream, we appreciate you coming across. I was in that other stream because I didn't want to leave any man behind. I think I used the analogy that I was like Mel Gibson from the film We Were Soldiers, where I'm the first on the battlefield and the last off. But I was worried that people might either tune in or be away from their phones when we decided to move, and then come back and go, what the hell? There's nobody here. So I was like, everybody go. And it was like 9 viewers. And I was like, right, I should see that counting down now. But instead it went down to like 3 and then went back up to 5. And I was like, who's tuning in? Go away.
Where is he? Where is he? We were going, well,
in the end, I thought to myself, well, as long as they're coming on and they're seeing these 2 streams, they're always going to try and see. So I thought me being here is probably like, I'm the carrot at the moment. So no pun intended.
Did you hear what happened to A.B the other day?
No.
Brent did a Slurpee.
Oh yeah. No, he did an Irish goodbye on the stream.
And he shut it all off, and they had to do a part 2.
I laughed so much.
So now we're doing a part 2. So
what's the chances? What are the chances? Yes. So Whittakee, go for it, mate. And do you want some background music?
He has the music now, I think.
Yeah.
Is it playing now? I can't hear.
No. Hold on, because I've got to put the banner up. Hold on.
No, that's why I was asking. Do you want me to do it while you're looking at the chat?
Yeah, if you could put the banner up, and then it should be the music. I think it says, because Slurpy put it on. Is it Whittakee's Call Out or something like that? I don't.
Yeah. Oh yeah, this is the Garth Brooks track, right?
It's not Garth Brooks.
Garth Brooks. Tell me at home, guys, if you think this sounds like the
music might do. It's a bit country, but
welcome to the cool gang. The cool gang.
Right, hello everyone. Welcome to the Cool Gang. A nice bit of music going on. So we say hello to Wick or Garrett. Good evening. Smokey. Nice to see Smokey here. Good evening to Paddy, one of our regulars, very regular now. Sarah, good to see you. Slurpy, stop doing that.
Yeah.
We've got Stud Sidious, nice to see you. So we got Ken Dunn, is he a new? We think he's quite new, we're not too sure. Sorry about the first time you come in. MatteBlackBricks sounds better next. Yeah, we had problems earlier, so that's why this is a part 2. Who else we got? We got the same people here chatting. We've got Angie C.
What's up?
Nice to see you, Angie. We have Slurpy's number 1 fan, Mugsy lad. Nice to see you, Mugsy.
There he is.
Good to see you. Good evening, Oaktown. Nice to see you pop in. How you doing? Right, stop it. I'm trying to do a bleeding. Mugsy. Good evening, Mugsy. Let's do some line dancing. Hey, look, I worked hard doing this song. Do you mind? The Cool Gang. Right.
Wow!
Who else we got? It's supposed to be
Hell
Smooth
yeah,
Rock.
brother!
I think that's everybody. Oh, we got Nimble. Good evening, Nimble. You missed all the fun at the beginning, Nimble. It was nice to see you. Hope you're well. And I think that's obviously Crimson Toaster. Nice to see you, Crimson. Big shout out to Hive in the middle of watching your stream. I have to watch it after this because it goes tonight, doesn't it? And I think that's well, I'll put that what Hive said. I think that ended right at the right time. I think that's everybody. Oh no, we've got Stickler Bricks.
Yep.
Good evening, Stickler. He's off to work. Have a great day.
Oh, again.
Oh yeah, keep going round and round until I finish doing the.
Hot damn, boy! You smell like a sack full of assholes.
Oh, Papa Rex, we got Papa Rex in the house. Blimey, there's so many of you on here today. I'm just hard to keep up.
It's the guests.
Keep commenting.
Papa Rex and that is it. And yes, so obviously anyone else who pops in, I will say hello, but welcome to the show, part 2. Hope you enjoyed that, right? Because I did.
And a special shout out to Mike, aka Lightning Lord, who was actually the first comment to the first one, but for whatever reason, YouTube doesn't.
Oh, sorry, I didn't. Yeah, I couldn't remember. So yeah.
Well, I pinned it, but of course we're in a different stream now anyway. But for some reason, YouTube doesn't like people to engage with a YouTube channel too early before it goes live.
Right.
So it just deletes comments randomly. So that's a bit annoying. But
I've noticed that sometimes I'll see one on there, like when I come on in a day, and then when I come later on, it's gone.
yeah, I don't know. I don't get that. Nobody's ever been able to figure that out. But
No.
so, guys, look, while you're in the chat, we've got PinkWheels in the house. We want questions, and I'm just going to quickly sort of, go through some of the things that we're going to be talking about with PinkWheels. Now, the show is going to change slightly just because of the qualitatiousness of the content that we've got. Thanks to PinkWheels. Because normally what we do is we introduce them, they tell their story, they do a little segment, and then they just basically hang with us and cover whatever we're covering. Because it's just the way we've always done it. However, we are going to talk about the following things in this show. We're going to be talking about Pick-a-Brick and the changes to Pick-a-Brick, which I've heard about but don't know anything about. So an education piece for me, at least. We're going to be talking about, and Pick-a-Brick, by the way, is Lego's online and in-store, effectively sort of bricklink store, if you like. We've got, we're going to be talking about, I called it M.O.C 101, but it is really about like getting into M.O.Cs. Who's doing huge sneezes in the background?
So is the impressive.
Was that your cat? Was that your cat?
No,
No, he's led asleep in front of me. No.
We're going to be talking about M.O.Cs, getting into M.O.Cs specifically, but showcasing some of the M.O.Cs from PinkWheels. And now that I've seen her M.O.Cs, I'm not even going to try to show off some of mine. But what we will do is we'll talk a little bit about getting into it and how people can get into it and sort of avenues. I think, PinkWheels did mention briefly about the lug, and I would like to know a little bit more about the lugs. So I got a few questions there. We've got some pictures as well. And the other thing is, this is a closet thing, I think, for you, PinkWheels, because I never would have guessed this, both from what I do already know about you and from looking at your Instagram, that you've got a vast, which is where we're going to start, if you don't mind, but you've got a vast collection of Star Wars custom minifigures. Is that right?
I have both. What happened is I've run out of, how do I say this? I have a good amount of the official Lego ones. Like, I don't have the silly ones like I have Cloud City Boba Fett because I found him in a lot. Not Boba Fett, excuse me, Lando. And apparently I missed the Boba Fett in that lot when we were sorting. But I don't have the Cloud City stuff. But I have a good, I probably have around 300-ish Star Wars minifigs. I'm a minifig collector. I've become more of a minifig collector than a set collector just because you can put a lot more space we have the train, where you put like the die cast trains, but instead I just slide in a 4x plate and I kind of make like a little bleacher and you can do them kind of like in there, and I could fit probably about 160 in the cases, and then we buy them off Amazon with Amazon points. I think they're like $100 case. So that's kind of what, but during, I want to say I was not big into Whatnot. I think there are pros and cons to Whatnot, but the biggest pro I found is you can get really cool customs for usually pretty economical, value. So like there's a guy, I primarily get customs now from a guy called Brick Love. He's here in the US in Utah, but he would ship internationally. And he does, his are UV. And I know there's some minifig crazy people are like, oh, I only want pad printed, but like getting a pad printed custom, you're probably going to pay minimum $50 USD. And that makes it collecting not as fun. I mean, I can get it if like you're making a mock and you want to have a specific minifig like as the center of the mock or something. By all means, go for your pad printed. But if you're just collecting for fun, the UV quality that Bricklink and some of the other ones are doing are just fantastic. And my daughter's creeping in over here.
Hello.
So yeah, and so it was like, I felt like I had nothing to collect because it wasn't like the last couple of years to me of Star Wars have just been kind of meh. Like I don't think I've bought. I can't even remember. The last that I bought was the TIE Bomber.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I have a UCS slave one. It's up top. You can't see it. So it's like I really didn't want to get the UCS Django because it's like I already have this, the official old slave one, and then there's all those other things, and it's just like there just was like how many Luke's land speeders could you want? And we found a lot of the UCS sets in the bulk sets that we used to sort. Wow. Like we have the second rendition of the X-Wing. What else do we have? But yeah, so I think that the last set I bought was the TIE Bomb. No, I take that back. We bought the Ghost. We have the original Ghost, but we wanted the new Ghost. Because it's just, I don't know, it has, and maybe it has to do with the fact that I like Clone Wars, but I didn't watch it until my daughter was kind of at the age, and I'm like, oh, let's watch it together because I love Star Wars. So I don't really have as much nostalgia for the connection with the Clone Wars stuff. But yeah, so I really like Brick Love stuff, and then I do buy a lot from Firestar, which is over there in the UK. They have really good affordable customs, and it's just, to me, getting the figures that you wish you could get, the characters that you wish you could get that Lego may or may not. It's just really exciting to me. That's fun to me. Because again, how many Lukes, how many Hans and Stormtroopers does one person really want? But then like I was trying to get like all the variants of the Stormtroopers, and it's mind-numbingly boring. But getting cool customs or getting characters that Lego may never make is really fun. So, but I usually get them off of Whatnot, or I'll get them from Firestar, or a lot of the other smaller customizers are on Instagram only, and you kind of just have to watch their thing, and you actually have to like kind of sign up ahead of time because they're only making a limited run. So that's kind of the places that I look for the customs. Buying customs, like, unfortunately, from like going to like a second aftermarket Lego store and buying customs that they buy and distribute is usually really expensive. So that's why I typically do it those ways. If you want to pull up a chair.
Do you want to say hi?
Nah, she's playing shy.
Is it Natalie you said?
Natalie, yeah.
Hi, Natalie.
Hi.
No, she's being too shy. So.
Okay.
But yeah, Brick Love. He has become, as I said, my favorite, and I actually had to like stop going on Whatnot because like he usually does like 3 streams a week, and it's like every week he's releasing something new, and it's like shit. I'm sorry. I was like, I'm gonna spend too much money, so like I have to pace myself. But yeah, the fun thing about him is he'll quite often ask for ideas on customs on like his Instagram stories, and if he picks your idea, he'll send you that one for free.
Wow.
Yeah, which is fun.
I need to, I really probably need to learn more about, like, I'm not a customs guy. I think I won a custom once, and it was in the US, and it was going to cost me more than the figure was worth to get it shipped across. So I gifted it to Austiff. Shout out to Austiff. And I don't know what it is. It's kind of strange because you were talking about like being more of a figure person than a set, and I'm the opposite. But it's not because I don't respect and like the figures. I never dream of sort of getting rid of one from a set. But it's more to do with displayability than anything else. But I just don't. For me, a lot of people, and I was like this as a kid actually, so things have changed for me personally. A lot of people, when you're building a set, the exciting part was building the figures. In fact, probably when I first got back into Star Wars Lego, I was excited about building the figures, and then the set was kind of okay. Now it's the other way around. Sometimes I'll just push the minifig parts to the side and concentrate on the build and then do the figs later. I don't know what it is or why that changed, but I've never really kind of, although I appreciate him and I respect him and I see these custom figs, I've never been drawn to him enough to actually buy one. But I'm just keen because have you got a particular favorite custom minifigure that you own? Yeah,
so Han, this one's actually probably the most expensive one, and I'll probably never buy one this expensive ever again, but you know. This is probably, I'm gonna say 3 or 4 years old. It's from Phoenix Customs, which pretty much you have to just watch their Instagram. And this was before there was absolutely no sense that we were going to get a Bo-Katan. I'm missing her. I have her helmet in a different case, but this is pad printed, and the hairpiece is custom. And then the coolest part is her jetpack is magnetic.
Oh my days,
that's cool.
So yeah, and I mean this is like what a top of the line, you know, pad printed custom. It was $100.
How much? Sorry, 100.
100 USD. Yeah.
And who was it from? Sorry,
Phoenix Customs.
That looks really good.
Damn. That's clean. That's so
Nice.
clean. And one of my favorite characters as well, I gotta say. So
yes, I really wanted a Bo-Katan, and at that point, I was gonna say this was during Mando. I think Mandalorian season 1 had just come out, but you know, I wanted her one because of Rebels, and then we went back and watched Clone Wars, and I'm like, I want a Bo-Katan, and no one. Yeah. I think Clone Army Customs had one, and it was always like out of stock, and I'm like, you know, if you're always out of stock. So one of my friends knew I wanted one, and he saw that on the Phoenix Customs Instagram. Like, again, they just say, hey, we're gonna, and they named it like, you know, galactic, you know, warrior princess or something like that, because it can't be Bo-Katan, right? Because of IP. And they did a lot. I mean, they did a lot of cool Star Wars ones, but they're really expensive. So that was I just got that one. It was special, and then I'm like, yeah, I can't buy every release they do because I will be broke.
I love the magnetic part of it. I've never seen that before.
Yeah, I love that.
Brand new to me.
I don't know. I mean, I think it's all everything's Lego except for the backpack and the hairpiece. So they must have gone in and like Dremel tooled the Lego bodies to get the magnet in there, and that's just, to me, yes, that works for $100. But like they did a custom Ahsoka. I mean, you can go on their page. They've done so many customs, and they're really nice. It's just, again, it comes down to, I really wanted Bo-Katan, and that was special to me. So I forked out for that one, but I actually ended up having to wait 2 years because actually, I take that back. I think this one they started doing, it's almost like a Kickstarter, and they did the Kickstarter for it. But again, once it's closed, the only way you could buy it is from somebody else or from one of their distributors, and by then it's $200 or $300. But that happened right during COVID, and they produced most of the stuff in China. And so I ended up waiting like 3 years for it. It was supposed to be like, they always have 1 year or like 9 months, but because of COVID. But they were very, they kept sending updates saying, seriously, we're not scamming you. I mean, they were pretty well regarded at that point, and nobody was getting anything done at that point during COVID.
Yeah, I did. I heard quite a lot about some of these custom. I don't think I could remember any of their names, but I know it was going on in a Facebook group I was in a few years back, where there was some custom companies that had been taking orders and not fulfilling the orders, and then they just kind of disappeared, and people were having. So I know that goes on quite a bit with custom companies, but once it's a trusted company and I guess you've ordered from it. But there's loads of love in the chat for custom. I mean, this is completely not my ballpark at all. I wouldn't know. The only custom figures I own 2. One is Admiral Trench. So he's this kind of tarantula-looking guy. I can't remember the name of the species. Looks like a tarantula, and he gets blown up on his ship, and then he comes back as a kind of half mech tarantula. From Clone Wars.
Is that right now?
He is very expensive now,
yeah.
But it's hard because there's not many people because it was such a limited run. There's not many people who own it or who are selling it, and for that reason, it's hard to gauge what it's worth because it's not like there's a lot of them selling. But I know that when it was available on Big Kid Brick's website, it was $80 at the time where I won it, because I didn't pay for that. I won it in a competition in a Facebook group I used to be quite active in. Shout out to MatteBlackBricks. But yeah, so I think somebody sold one for like 300 quid on eBay is showing, or someone's got one up for sale for 300 quid. So I'm not actually particularly attached to it. So if anybody out there is interested in owning an Admiral Trench custom fig and was willing to give me decent money for it, I'm happy to see it go, because it's not really my kind of thing. It's never been on display. I don't even know what it is right now. And the only other one I own is a Darth Strife. So Darth Strife is a little bit more niche because he's from a character from he's kind of tattooed a little bit like Maul, but he's from a Legends comic book series. I can't even remember what the series was, and he's kind of one of the Sith characters from that, and they did this character. Again, it's no longer available. Doesn't look the best, but it does look pretty cool for a custom.
If you like Legends, this was my Mother's Day gift to myself.
Oh wow!
Isard, I can never remember. From the X-Wing novels, she was the bad guy. Isard, I can never say it.
Well, yeah, she got 2 different color eyes. Yeah,
that's how she had a white stripe, and she wore a red uniform, and it was just awesome. And this one was like, I think it was only about $20, which I know is expensive, but
I don't know the character, but she looks great.
She looks great. Yeah, she's a Legends character. So, and that's the other thing.
I only have one custom, and I think you gave it to me, Martin. Was this clone on Brick World?
Cool.
That's it.
Bob Cooper.
Wait, which one?
It's just a clone trooper. You gave it to me. You said it's some custom figures. Do you want one? All right, yeah, all right.
I gave it to you.
Yeah, I'm sure you gave it to me. Didn't you give one to me and to Slurpy?
No,
it wasn't me, mate.
I got the sig fig.
Well, if it wasn't you, whoever gave it to me, thank you, because
it was Mike and Ike.
Doesn't ring a bell, but
yeah. So we were in the lobby just before we left, and he had a little tray with a bunch in.
Oh, right.
So I remember him giving me one. I'm pretty sure he gave you one at the same time because I had a similar one. So I've actually got one of his custom clones as well. I'd forgotten about that, but it's still in with my Bricklink haul, which I haven't even unpacked yet. So, but yeah, no, it definitely wasn't me, mate, because
Okay.
I've never even seen that thing before. But yeah, no, I gave you the carded figs, and Slurpy had the spaceman.
Yeah, I've got that. I've got them.
But yeah, that was my gifts.
No, like customs, like it's like I wouldn't say I used to be wild big into them years ago, but more like making them myself, you know, like trying to print off decals. And I think every I think every 12-year-old boy goes through like their World War II phase. So it's like, oh, I'm gonna to enhance history. I'm going to like really create certain military divisions and, you know, bring that to class or whatever. But like obviously Star Wars as well.
Through it.
Yeah. But obviously like Star Wars customs were huge, like, and I went through the phase like a lot of kids too, where we Sharpied or markered our clones. So like
I have so many figs that we found when we were sorting for this dude that had the Sharpie or the whiteboard marker on the clones. It was sad, but at the same time, it was adorable thinking that some kid had so much fun with this.
Yeah, like some of the clones I have, it's like just like I used to sand the fins off and Brasso the print off their face, and all night even break their helmets too to like, oh yeah, let's do a battle damage cloner here. And then years later, I'm like, I had no clones because I just mangled them all. But I got into like brick arms. You know, all the custom minifigure weapons and stuff like that, accessories. I found like not cooler, but more like, oh, like you can add it. Because I don't want to disparage. Like, there's some custom companies that like they kind of get into, for me, like a little too much detail. Like there's printing almost inside their legs, and like instantly it's like, what are we doing there? But like, I've definitely got in the last year more and more custom figures. Maybe stuff from like, you know, K-Town or Citizen Brick. Or even like these spacemen I have, they're from, well, one of the clones is from GCC and the other one is from, Chrome Block City from Poland. So it's like you get them all over the world. Like, I have.
Did you pick those up while you were out in San Francisco? I mean, Poland.
No, they arrived. Right when I was in Poland, they arrived here.
All right.
It was like I could see the plane. I could see the cargo plane and the wee man like waving out at me.
But what you said then, Slurpy, about over printing and stuff. I mean, my friend, bless him, he didn't know, but he gave me a couple of figures, and they are fake, But I took them. I didn't say anything to him. But yeah, I mean, I've got one here now. It's Rex, and it's so covered in prints, it just looks way over the top.
I've seen that. And not just that, on some of these cheaper sites like Temu and stuff like that, you can get like, I don't know, Mandalorian figures. And it's not so much the print that's overdone, but it's all the accessories where they got all this stuff coming out the side of their head on all these backpacks and all these extra things.
Like the Bad Batch. And it's like almost like a Transformer.
I remember going to like I remember I was actually talking to my friend about this like a few days ago. There's some like charity event his family had. And like, you know, you get like stalls in and stuff like that. One of the guys was selling Lego, and it was all those like AliExpress clones where like when you look at them, they're like
pink Deadpools and stuff like that.
My cousin is an artist, and she does like the artist like they'll go to like little farmers markets or something and craft like that have the crafts and the like stuff like that. And she sent me pictures one weekend. She's like, "What is this?" And it was just like rows of like Hulk minifigs. That were just like bright green, and they were like, those are knockoffs. Like they're charging like $10 or $15 for them. I'm like, they probably bought all those for like the equivalent of like $30.
No, it's always so funny to me. Like they'll just have like rows and rows of like a Cloud City Boba Fett, but it's like they're all melted. They're all like, you know, like you touch it, you're getting an infection. You know, like it's not good. But I think the realm of customs I go down is more like this Fabulan character, I just modified his head to be like a bobblehead. Or I like to drill holes in minifigures or their heads and stuff like that. So I'm like, right, I could use this. I'm like Sid from Toy Story, where I'll eventually use this for something, you know.
I have a
It
friend.
came. It finally came. The big one.
I have a friend who does do custom. He doesn't do as much because he has a regular full-time job, but he was making Avatar: Last Airbender figs, and the first one he made, him and a friend had tried Dremel tooling out like the arrow, and then filling it in with clear epoxy and putting an LED in it so that you could light him up like he was in the Avatar state, and it looked really cool. But you know, to me, it's your Lego. You do whatever you want with it. I mean, my daughter loves Friends, and I like Friends too. I actually made my friend DeLoreans. They're up, but like they're not the best. But there's lots. LEV Toys, who's the big. She's like, I think she's the one of, if not the biggest by subscriber Lego YouTuber. And she only does Friends, but she does a lot of custom mini dolls where she'll try to take. Or no, there's another one that she'll take all of like a CMF line and convert them to mini dolls, and she'll spend like 60 hours hand painting these layer by layer, and I don't have time for that, so mine don't look as good as theirs. But I mean, people think it's hilarious, and I've made Thrawn. I made a friendly Thrawn. We call it Friendly Thrawn and Friendalorians, and I had started making the Bad Batch, and they were going to be the Bad Blood Friend Batch or something, but I just haven't had enough time to finish them.
I think
that's a bit like what Tyler's done, hasn't he? He's got his face blue and put it on. So what is it, Frawler or something he calls it? From LifeBricks.
Thryler.
Thryler. I did that too with Friends. Like I remember years ago, I think my sister or brother got Friends, and like they didn't really care for the figures that much. So I just was like, right, I've got brick arms. I'm going to make them be in some sort of fictional jungle war and just paint them black and green and stuff like that. Then I found it. But I found it like a couple of years back. I'm like, oh, what a mess! Like I did at the time. This was hard. Like this was so cool, and then like, oh, this is ass. Like this is not look good at all.
I'm working on an article for Brick Nerd. They're one of the Lego blogs that is like recognized along with New Elementary about the history of what we call friendly mocks, and it really started. From what I can tell, and I'm still trying to get in context, I don't think he's very active anymore. A guy named Tyler Sky, he's a fantastic mocker out in Pacific Northwest of the US. And he made these just gorgeous Star Wars, like UCS style spaceships in Friends colors with Friends, like, with, like the Star Wars, with all like the X-Wing helmet. He made this beautiful B-Wing, 2-seater B-Wing, and, it's being driven or piloted by Friends.
Sorry, wow. Is this one of his mocks? Bricks guy? Is he Bricks guy? Mm-hmm. Is it coming up here now? Is this one of his?
Yeah, that's one of his first ones, but his B-Wing. Wow. And he kind of kicked off the whole like taking Friends, and at least for Star Wars, and people have done it for other types of IP, but this is what got me, because my daughter loves Friends. The B-Wing. I love this B-Wing.
Wow, look at that.
Yeah. I mean, it's gorgeous.
I just wish they'd bring out another B-Wing, because I really want
this looks like a rebuild the Galaxy B-Wing, like
yeah.
You know what I mean? In a good way.
Yeah, so this is more, I know we kind of transcended now into mock, which is great, right? Yeah. This is how a show should go. But this is more up my street in terms of, because I've done stuff similar to this where I've taken a set that already exists. Now, he hasn't done that. That looks like his own design of B-Wing as well, which is obviously a few stages probably up from what I would ever do. But where I've taken ships and made them in colors that don't exist at all in universe. So I think I did a sand speeder. So instead of white and orange, it was black with pink. But I wasn't particularly happy with it. Took it apart or whatever. That's the kind of thing that I like to do, because I like that. Don't know what the wording is with just that.
We usually call it a reskin. There's no term for it really. My friend and I, we call it like reskinning or recoloring. I did one for Lego Insiders where I took the when they had come out with the Galaxy Explorer, and they were looking for people to customize it. So I did a friend, I call it the Friendly Explorer, and it looks pretty close to theirs, but it's all in Friends colors. It's with some modifications, but I mean, that's to me gets to what, like, you know, Lego's supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be creative. It's supposed to maybe make you laugh a little bit, but at the same time saying, damn, that's cool.
Yeah.
I gotta say, because the Galaxy Explorer is my favorite Lego set, so like I want to see that.
Yeah, well, as it happens, that's one of the pictures I was going to show because it's one of my favorites that I picked up from your Instagram feed. So, so I'm in the middle of sending it now because my bloody thing is a nightmare. It's not connected to everything else, so I got to send it from my phone across. But I'll do that in a sec. But yeah, so just talk about that a little bit because I was hoping to have the picture up at the same time, but no, sorry, going back to what I was saying, there's two things actually I wanted to say that I forgot to say earlier. One of them was just going briefly back to something you talked about half an hour ago, and I just want to make a statement here. Who is putting UCS sets, broken up UCS sets, in a lot of mixed bricks? Like, that's so unheard of. I've never heard of that. I've heard of, because I've bought mixed lots before where I know this Star Wars in them because he's taking a picture of the Lego and I can work out, right, there's this piece, whatever. But for a UCS set to be in there, I was like, who the hell's doing that? But anyway.
So I think it's a combination, and trying not to generalize people in my city, but there's a lot of wealth in Atlanta, especially in the northern suburbs. And what I think it is that, you know, mom's cleaning out all of the stuff they bought for Junior because Junior doesn't want it anymore, and they throw it in a box and they send it to Goodwill or what have you. And they don't know, you know, not to say generalize mom. It could be dad too. The parents, you know, they just, you know, they probably, to buy a kid a UCS set, they're probably very well off. And so they're not going to be like, oh, I should, you know, throw this on, you know, eBay or Facebook Marketplace. They're just throwing it in a box and trying to get rid of it.
Yeah, that is actually,
wow.
Yeah, that's a good point. But anyway, sorry, bringing it back to what we were talking about. I am going to try and get this picture up, but I noticed in the comments for this Galaxy Explorer that you talked about, that you said Lego. I think you say something along the lines of, and I know you did just explain it, but just talk to us a little bit about that. Like, how did that come about, and what, you know?
So this kind of goes into lugs and kind of like what kind of the, how do I say this? One of the perks of being in a lug. So, you know, now there's ambassadors who are, and the ambassadors that like are on Instagram and YouTube, they're what in the few websites are referred to as registered fan media. So they're in the LAN program as ambassadors under that program. For lugs, every lug gets to select one person as their ambassador. So they're also in LAN, but they're under the registered Lego user group. And so the ambassador acts as almost like literally the ambassador to Lego. So they go on to the LAN forum, the super secret LAN forum, where, you know, all your registered fan Lego fan media are as well. Because again, it's the whole point of, you know, fan media and for lugs is that, you know, Lego can interact with the fans. So a lot of times they'll do this where they'll say, listen, we want to put together like a social media campaign. And there's been a few of them where, like, when the Reebok sneaker came out, the Superstar, they wanted people to modify the Superstar for like these different kind of themes. And so they'll put that out in the forum. So that's the Friendly Explorer. They'll put that out in the forum, and they want all of the ambassadors and lugs to go back to their lugs saying, is there anyone interested in this? And then they email or they'll message the LAN folks. In this place, usually get shifted off to marketing, saying, here's a person interested. Here's some of the mocks they've done, you know, and Lego usually gets back to you saying, yes, we want this person to do this project for us. And you're not getting paid for it. So they send you, like, for example, they sent me the Galaxy Explorer early. With the stipulation I couldn't post any of it, but I could use it to, you know, try to work on the mock. And then they sent me another set of my choice for free as a thank you. And I was not allowed to post pictures of it until they posted pictures of it. So if you actually go on Lego's social media, like there was one where they did the helmet series. They had people like modify the Star Wars helmets. They had one where they did the Superstar. I haven't seen them do it lately, but again, it was like probably like 3 or 4 times a year. They'd put a general call out in the LAN for folks to do a modification of a new set coming out as help them with PR. And that's what this was for.
That kind of surprises me though, because, and I'll tell you for why, because obviously if you're doing this as part of a promotion to help them, whatever, obviously before, you know, that information is available to you, that makes total sense. And I get why they're doing it, but I'm obviously missing something here, but for Lego to do that, knowing that people could, because effectively I could build this, or, you know, I could build a version of the Galaxy Explorer without actually buying the Galaxy Explorer, because obviously the instructions are available, the part lists are available on Bricklink, so you could go around and do it. So it's quite interesting that Lego's actually encouraging people to do that, because then there's like, this is almost saying you don't have to buy the Galaxy Explorer. You can do your own thing with your own colors.
It was, I think it's more to emphasize that, you know, once you build the set, there's still stuff you can do with it, or still ways you can interact with it and be creative with it. I think that was what they were trying to get, because they had somebody do like a steampunk version. They had somebody else do a pirate version, and I can't remember what the third version was. Botanical? I think it was botanical. So yeah, I mean, so they just wanted to emphasize that. And to be honest, like the other ones, they actually used a lot more of the coloring from, like, I think the pirate one, I don't remember. This is like 2 years ago, but like you could, you know, use like, I pretty much built a separate subframe in gray, and then I had to modify over it, and there was some things that in there that are not technically legal because I couldn't get the color in the exact pieces that they had. And I didn't really want to have the exact pieces. I wanted to have similar pieces, but some of the wedge plates, like there's not a lot of options for some of these wedge plates in general. So it was interesting, but yeah, they do that. They haven't done it a lot lately. I've not seen a lot of them come out or seen them on Lego's PR. So this was the friendly explorer that I made for that project.
Right. Because the only thing that I can probably, if I wanted to use like a modern example or a Star Wars example for me, is that I kind of looked into, you know, the Star Wars logo, which is in yellow, and I'm not a big fan of like that particular color of the Star Wars sign. I like the color yellow, don't get me wrong, but I just kind of was out of curiosity, just thought, would it be cheaper for me to go and buy that set at a reduced price and then change out the colors for a different color? And I think I did it on live on one of the channels where I just kind of tried changing the yellow, and the only other color that all of those parts that they use, because there's some new elements used in that Star Wars signage, the only color that that's available was white. You could get every part in. I tried like green, which I wanted, but it was like 3 or 4 parts you couldn't get. So I tried white, but it actually worked out cheaper for me to just part out the set, even with brand new bricks, part out the set and the white instead of the yellow, than it is to actually buy the set, which would kind of make sense. But from that point of view, it's like, yeah, it is kind of strange that Lego's like kind of encouraging that, but I do get it, because the underlying theme of Lego's always been the adaptability of it, the creativity. Yeah, absolutely. And that, like I said, that doesn't take away from the fact that this is absolutely phenomenal. But I was just really surprised when I read that, because I've seen this kind of thing done, but I read that it was kind of encouraged by Lego, and I was like, wow, that's I never would have guessed that. So this is fantastic.
It was a Lego sanctioned project.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's a good accolade to have. And I got to say, looking through your Instagram, considering you've got this, you said you were writing a piece for a magazine, you obviously belong to a lug, you've won some awards, so you're 50% of this panel is award winners at Brickworld, just saying, and I'm not one of them, but you've won some awards at Brickworld, which we'll get onto that in just a sec. But you've got your finger in a lot of pies, but you're actually quite, you don't boast about it at all. You're quite reserved about it. I don't know what the word is, but you're considering that if you didn't read, press the button and read the additional comments, for which most people, 90% of people don't do for anybody's post, right? But if you don't, you're not going to see, and even then you're not like, Lego had me do this, guys. Lego's done this to Lego. And that's what I'm not saying there's anything wrong with people who do that, because I think if I got a chance to do something like this, trust me, everyone would know. But I appreciate the fact that you're kind of like, I did a thing, and what, and not even that actually, because you're not saying it even. So I think that's.
How do I say this? I don't know. I am enjoying myself, so that's kind of, I want to say that's my reward itself. But like, to be completely honest, when you get somebody like a Mark Erickson, a Simon Liu, I'm trying to think of, I'm blanking out now. Just like some of the top MOC builders in the world, if they come and comment or like your MOC, or you're at a convention and they say this is really awesome, or I really like this, or just in general when people come up and you get a lot of people saying this is so cool, or this made me, especially with like things that make them kind of giggle or just kind of silly. That's the enjoyment I get out of it. Seeing people I like and people I respect, or just people in general enjoying it. I mean, that's the fun right there. That's the friends we made along the way, so to speak. I don't know. I'm having fun, and how do I say this? Like, I don't think all the awards given at every con, they're all a little different, and they're all imperfect. I think some cons, Natalie, some cons do it better than others. But at the end of the day, it takes a lot of cojones to go and set a build out, especially at like a place like Brick World, or just even any event where there's going to be public looking at it instead of mock out, and that takes a lot. And beyond that, we're all having fun. So
I think one of the biggest rewards you can get probably is putting a smile on someone's face. You get that back, and it's just makes you feel great as well. So yeah.
And what is like kind of the best thing I ever gotten at a convention hasn't been an award. It's been other people's MOCs. When Simon Liu kind of does this and got me started on it, but he's the guy who came up with Shiptember. So he is kind of like this known guy in the AFOL space. So he gave me one of his, like, he had a whole fleet, different sizes, and he gave me one.
I saw that too.
And it's just like, and then I have another friend who gave me a mech that's up there too. And to me, like, it's like almost like a Horcrux. Like, it's like I have a piece of my friends with me. You know what I mean? I look up and I'm like, this is Simon. Simon's nuts. Just look at all these angles. It's just, that's kind of just, giving people a MOC to me, or a piece of your MOC, is just like the best thing to get. It's like a little something of a person's, personality and creativity and stuff.
Wow.
That's like me. I take him around everywhere I go.
Yeah. It's like a sister or anything,
He's my baby.
And people in the US have really gotten to take into tokens, and there's a lot of debate about tokens. To me, I'm like, everyone should do what they like, and if someone doesn't like tokens on their MOC, then they take them off. I mean, that's the way I look at it, and I think everyone's fine to have a different view on it. Some people do want their MOC kind of like, cleaned out, not. But like, there's some tokens that have gotten to me, and I really can't grab them right now. That I just
is that where people just leave things for to basically say, I like your MOC and stuff? They just
because
see if I can reach one.
I went around Brickworld with like it could just be like someone throwing like a sig fig or a minifigure head, but I walked around and I was putting like blockhead. Like, I would see someone with a cool minifigure, so I would take their figure and put blockhead to it.
Yeah. So for example,
stole all their figures.
A Crystal Star who was on our Lego Masters, and then she was on the US versus, or the previous one in Australia where they had Australia versus the world. Her and her partner won, and she gave me her own little MOC. And this one is by I can't remember his last name, but he's Galahad on Instagram. And this was an actual MOC he made, a full-scale bust, and he made it down to a mini. I mean, even just the techniques he used in this, it's just nuts. He's at Lego hired him, so he is now a Lego designer, and it's like, I have a Lego designer's MOC.
What's the name? Sorry?
Galahad, did you say it was? What was the name?
I think it's that. I'm terrible with names, but yeah, he's now a Lego designer.
Yeah, so to see the like the pic, to get the expression on a face using bricks, and to be able, I just like, where the hell do you start? Like ships I can build, right? And a lot of that influenced by Star Wars or whatever, and the amount I've built. But when it comes to something like that, to build like a bust like that and get that level of detail is such a small thing. It's just like absolutely blows my mind. But no, like while we're on the subject of awards, this obviously here, I'm guessing some of these, I don't know how much of this is your mocks and how much of this is the goodies that people have sort of thrown down in respect. But talk us through what are we looking at here?
So that year I went, that was my first year at Brick World. I had been to other ones. I'd been to Brick Fair. I'd been to smaller regional Brick Fairs. I've been to smaller kind of regional events, but it was my first time at Brick World. And actually I take this back. This is from 2004, but they, so the 3 that you're seeing are for the new Hashima collab,
right?
From 23. And so I was very lucky to be involved with that. And Brick World's really awesome that if you do have a large collab, they print you extra trophies, but you just have to wait till next year.
Oh, so, I see. Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, I've been nominated I've been nominated 3 times for personal builds. I've won once for a personal build. And then obviously I got 3 awards for the new Hashima collab. So
effectively you've got 4 awards, right?
Yeah, and I got some other ones like
so you got one from Brick Slopes as well.
Our local things. I got that one year. My husband got it next year at Atlanta Brick Con.
Best in show. Okay.
Yeah, and then I have some from this is the first one I ever won. Was at the regional Brick Fair, Alabama. So.
Wow. Oh, no, that one is cool. That's cool.
Yeah, I lost the top to the other one. So, but yeah, that's they hand it to you in a bag and they go, you have to build it.
Oh, yeah. That's a bit of a cop out.
It's a prize, but you got to build it.
Well, I suppose that is the fun part of it as well, isn't it?
Yeah. So, it's always great to get an award, but as I said, it's never going to be a perfect system, especially because this is all art, so to speak, and art is objective. So, some people do it better. Some cons do it better than others. But at the end of the day, it's fun, but at the same time, there's never going to be a way to honor like all of the awesome builds there. And it kind of stinks, but that's the system we have, unfortunately. But I think the tokens, and that's why I do like the tokens, because most people will at least get a handful or 1 or 2, and it's nice to know that someone looked at your mock and was appreciative of it. So
yeah, I mean, I kind of cottoned onto it quite late. I did go to the opening ceremony thing, but as Slurpy will tell you, I had to do an Irish goodbye there as well because I just couldn't. No, actually, was that the same thing? I don't know where they told you about stuff like this. But it wasn't, was it? It was the welcome thing we went to. And
the closing ceremonies they go through who got actually won.
We weren't there for that.
Yeah. It was when they were talking
which one was that, Martin? Yeah, it was one you just got up. I thought, where's he going?
Yeah, no, it was the one where so basically there's one where they just do like a what's it called? Orientation. We went to the orientation with
the new person or new attendee orientation.
For the noobs, and I gotta be honest, I just glazed over because I'm a face-to-face person. In terms of talking, interacting, when somebody's just there and it's kind of one side and they're just going through copious amounts of information, I can't take it in. It's just not the way my brain works. So when it comes to that, I didn't really pay much attention. And then we went to the opening ceremonies. I don't know where you were, Whittakee, but I was sat with. Oh no, yeah, you were there, but you were sat with someone else. We were sat with Ken and
I was in the next row.
And I was just we started it, and I was just like this to Slurpy. I was like, I can't do it. He's like, what's the matter? And I'm like, I'm just not in. I'm just not feeling it. I just couldn't sit there. I just knew I was gonna.
He said, "I'm away." Well, it wasn't badness. Like it wasn't like.
No, there was no with the presentation.
Was it like that?
Presentation, I know is good, and I don't want people to think that I've had to do presentations nowhere near that scale, but quite large scale presentations in the past, and I know for some people it's not their cup of tea. But it was just, I just wasn't connected that day, and I just had to get up and leave. So the reason I'm saying that is because I felt like I missed some information. I did miss some information by my own mistake. And I was walking around when I saw some of these tokens, and I was like, well, look at these, a bunch of tokens. I wonder if these, and for some reason, I'd really gotten confused and thought the tokens were like kind of giveaways for people to take.
I think I remember.
And I think you guys were with me when we both, the three of us, were walking along, and we collected up a couple of these things. And it wasn't like stuff like this. It wasn't like Lego and stuff. It was like business cards, and then it was
stickers and stuff like that.
Yeah.
We picked
I'm
a few
on the
of them.
persuasion that it should be, you know, a little custom build, or it should be a fun sticker that's not an advertisement. But when people leave business cards and advertisement stickers, like, come on, guys.
Yeah.
So I don't think these were actually tokens.
Oh yeah,
These
I
were
was
actual
leaving.
the mock builder
No,
stickers.
they were.
Loads of them there for you to take.
No, yeah, those ones were, but we got confused with it basically because I'd done that. I'd seen stickers. There was a pile of stickers, and we'd taken one each. Then it was like business card. We'd taken one each, and then I'd seen something else, and I picked it up. And then I went further along, and I was like, went to pick something up. I thought, hang about, I just picked this up off that table. How have they both got the same sticker? And then I realized, oh, wait a sec. So I had to go back, and I did make sure I went back because it was only like 2 tables, so I'm not like on the whole floor picking things up. So I did go and put them back once I realized. But I felt bad because I was going around and respecting M.O.Cs, but I didn't have anything to drop on the table because I hadn't. Obviously, we weren't aware of this till we got there. Nobody told us about that. So what I did do is I had loads of my own stickers, so I was giving out my stickers, but I also had my. I wouldn't say a business card, but I had my card with the Cool Han show and the Instagram QR codes and stuff on. So I did start putting a few of those out, but only because every time I did it, though, I will say this: every time I did it with the Welsh flag face up, because I didn't think it was right to advertise your channel or your thing on someone else's M.O.C. And I remember saying that to which one of you two guys I was with at the time. But the Welsh Dragon, a lot of people actually do like the Welsh Dragon.
I love it. You guys have the coolest flags. Yeah. I mean, you got a dragon.
So
someday we will have a cool flag, but that's not for now.
And someday the Welsh flag will be incorporated into the Great Britain flag, which is the only flag that isn't at the moment. But we won't go into that politics.
Do you know what the history of the tokens are? Because to be honest, before COVID, tokens weren't really a thing.
No, tell us.
Yeah, so where they came from is it's a gentleman named Arthur Gugick. I never say his name right. And this was back in the early 2010s. So Brickworld has a Brickworld Master. It's kind of like a lifetime achievement award that gets voted on every year. And that year he won Brickworld Master, and he had a bunch of scorpions, like the little Lego scorpions. Yeah, and so he went as a prank after he won, and he ended up putting on on the M.O.Cs. He went around and put them on like almost all the M.O.Cs. And, you know, that's what everyone said was the first token. And now they're called Gugicks, but Gugicks only can come from the Brickworld Master. And now it's an actual tradition so that anyone who displays a M.O.C at Brickworld, the Brickworld Master for the previous year has to put a token on everyone's M.O.C.
Wow.
This past year, Dan Church was the past Brickworld Master, and Casey. I didn't know Casey that well a few years ago when he was Brickworld Master, but Dan Church, they had to have a meetup at 2:30 in the morning to go do this Santa Claus in the middle of the night. So if you saw all the sailboats, that was Dan Church's Gugick.
Right. So going back to that picture, I was just there's not a sail. Oh no, I was thinking of the picture. So I was just going to ask you, are all of these Gugicks then, or are some of these actually?
No, Gugicks can only come from the Brickworld Master. Yeah. The rest of them are just tokens of appreciation that are done in the vein of a Gugick.
I'm with you.
So
I remember I know what you saying about this on the opening ceremony. I think
it's kind of not really. I don't know if they talk about it at the opening. I didn't go to the opening ceremonies this year either because I was bad. But I've never heard them talk about it. It's always kind of been there's another unofficial tradition at Brickworld. The white brick.
No, I don't know this one because I knew about the scorpions. I remember him saying, but
and actually, And people will be, and some people will challenge whether it was really Arthur Goot because he had the scorpions, and then the next year Simon Liu, who I'm very good friends with, became Brick World Master, and he actually made a little build of a frog and a mini spaceship, and so that was more of a build. And so after that, the Googix became mini builds. It can't just be like a scorpion. So it's kind of a combination of those two Brick World Master. I think it was 2012 and 2013. But the white brick, nobody knows who puts the white brick out. It's the same size of a regular Brick World award. Nobody knows who puts these out. I have my theory, but usually there'll be about 3 to 4 of them a year. And they'll be placed sometime Sunday morning. Again, nobody knows. And it's usually placed on a MOC that did not get an award, but let's just say that someone thinks is overlooked, whoever the person is. Or it might be put on a MOC of a builder that is just a good representative of the community. There's no set in stone way, and every single one of them has a custom build inside.
Oh, nice.
Oh, wait.
Each build is different.
So it's almost like for an honorable build sort of thing, you know, when you're
or a person. Yeah. Mine isn't it's a fully functional electric socket. Like it's all to do this. Lego is hard. It's a friction fit plug.
What the hell?
Right, I see that. Yeah, that's cool.
So, and I had a lot of lights this year. The year I got this, I wasn't nominated. I had a ton of lights. So every time the white brick goes out, whoever gets it or the few people that get it, the mini build is usually in relations to either their build or the person. So somebody is making these on site.
What
random.
And nobody knows who it is, or that's cool.
But this is kind of like taking on. Would it be kind of like Kilroy was here? Like it started off maybe as like a little.
It started off
maybe there's other vigilantes doing it. Like there's like other people like we're gonna do the. You know what I mean? Like,
I have my theories, and I've stopped having theories about it because I feel like it kind of is like you don't want to know Santa Claus is real. You know?
But this white brick is very few. Yeah, it's not like loads.
No, usually there's only about 3 or 4 put out every year.
Cool. Yeah, that's good.
Brickster has a running log of who got what brick and what was in the brick. Yeah. Do you know Steve Puda? He made the he usually does Marvel MOCs. He had this year the one of Doctor Strange slicing the bus in half.
Oh, I saw that one. Yeah.
Yeah, the year before he had brought a Spider-Man MOC that was like from the Spider-Verse, and all the buildings, 2 of the buildings were built on the side like this at an angle, and it had like kind of like the glitching going on. It was a really cool MOC. Didn't win anything, but he got a white brick, and he didn't know about it. He's like, he kept messaging me. He's like, why is there a white brick on my MOC? Like he didn't know about it. And so I had to explain the whole lore behind it, and that getting a white brick is a pretty big honor.
Yeah,
he's like, someone.
To be honest with you, that sounds cooler than the actual actual.
And did you say that something different in it to each person?
Yeah, he had Sandworm, which I'm gathering is because it was such a pop culture build and stuff like that. And also that his ward wasn't recognized that going under the ground or something like that. I don't know. It's cool.
I look no see these like the tokens, like I think they're super cool. Like you'll just see some, like there's some really, I say this and this sounds horrible, that I'd walk around some MOCs and you just see like people from like a wee handful of studs. Like,
and that's
Elliot giving Reese's Puffs. It's like what?
Yeah, that's another debate that people don't just like. We call it the P.A.B dump, where people go to a local P.A.B mall and get like 3 or 4 elements, and but you can see like some of them just like are just clearly like really well thought out, like that little tiger. The technique, it's nuts.
That's what I was just about to ask, because I couldn't work out how many of these were like the tokens and how many. I thought the 3 were the MOCs that you won for, and then there was 3 tokens. But all of these tokens.
I had too many tokens that year to get in one picture. And I
Oh.
try to always take pictures, and I tag all the people that gave them to
Yes.
me as like a thank you. It's become a new thing, I so to speak. But yeah, this is the little tiger, and it's adorable.
Oh, his legs wobble as well.
Yeah, they're the antenna just pushed through.
Yeah.
As an unknown
Yes, sir.
fact,
What?
that's my favorite animal. It's a tiger.
Oh, yeah.
That's
That's
cool.
really
Oh,
cool.
mate, Slurpy, that makes your bobblehead, what do you call Animal Crossing figure, or whatever he's called,
Fabuland.
Fabuland
Fabulous.
figure,
No,
look
man.
like garbage
No,
now, I
he's-
gotta say.
No, this actually. No. Whoa. Pause.
Yeah, go on. Let's give him. Come on. Let's look at the. Come on, then. Show.
Look, guys.
I love the Fabuland.
Yeah, but look what he's done.
Okay.
He's giving him a bobble.
When he's in the car, like, he's completely going like, whoa. He's way off the charts. Like, he's a killer too with the flame arm. But see this one here, that piece in the left corner. Why is it eaten? Like, what is that?
Oh, it's a heart.
What?
Is that what?
Oh, yeah.
Right. I
It's
see.
the
Oh,
heart-
it's a
A
reflection.
heart plate. Yeah.
What's the one in the top right
Why
hand
did it
corner?
look like it was? Sorry, why it looked like it was chewed. I apologize.
So that's kind of a secret build that was given to me, so I really can't talk about that. Sorry.
Oh, god damn.
Oh,
Okay. So what about the boat then? Is that something to do with
That's
the boat?
from Crystal Star. She, as I said, she was on Lego Masters USA. I think season 1, and then her and I can't remember her name, the Building Bell girl lady. They teamed up. She was from season 2. They teamed up when Lego Masters had Lego Australia versus the world, and they won that show.
Wow. So
Yeah.
you like basically rubbing shoulders. Well, I'd not say rubbing shoulders with you. We're in the company of greatness here, guys, in terms of the mock community, because
hell yeah.
not only are you involved in quite a lot of elements, more so than any other guests we've had, but you sort of, it's recognized as well. Do you see what I mean? So you haven't just written a story to go in a magazine. It's been sort of published, for example, and you haven't
anyone can really write for Brick Nerd. You just message Dave at Brick Nerd, be like, hey, I have an idea for an article, and seriously, he is all ears, and he likes to talk more. He likes articles that are more about the community versus the actual mocks. So if like you have really bizarre lore or anything like that, that's what lives in Brick Nerd. It's like they talk all about the history of Gugix, and they talk about white bricks, and just it's a lot more about the community necessarily than mocking. So
right, okay, yeah, I think the idea of just coming up with an idea is where I've stumped, because I just when it comes to these guys know that I like things to be original, and I don't like copying other things, but I sometimes I think I probably overthink it. But no, look, this is fantastic. I like the Minoc. Obviously, that's the Minoc from the Millennium Falcon.
And he actually left a little note saying like this is a Minoc and that he loves Star Wars, and he actually left it on one of my Star Wars mocks.
Yeah, and it's cool they managed to get like the wings in a sort of different color, because obviously it was something else. I mean, the cost that might have gone into that is actually quite. I mean, I thought some of the sig figs were quite expensive that I saw, but to do this where you're giving out sort of, I don't know, God knows how many, and probably this guy might have had a sig fig as well. There's a lot of money. People spend a lot of money and really invest into this show, and that's what I love about it, is the fact that.
And I was terrible because I did not do tokens this past year because I just was too behind on everything.
Well, it seems like you had a lot going on, but yeah. No, that's fantastic. And look, something you were talking about just now reminded me of something. So I actually earned a token from somebody who's a Lego master without having a mock on display.
Yeah, I mean,
so that's my claim to fame.
Some people just will, I will give them to people who are not necessarily displaying anything, just because it's like giving a Horcrux, and part of my soul
I thought I was special for that happening to me.
But no, it's special. And there is some debate that some people don't leave them on mocks anymore. I have some friends that don't put them on mocks; they give them to people. It's not necessarily about the build. It's more of, I don't get to see you that often. Here's a little build I made, and I want to give it to you.
Well, I'll tell you what. I'll try and make it sound cooler then, without embellishing. Mine was given to me, and these are the words that this guy used, not my words. So if they're watching, they can support me on this. So shout out to Manny Brick. He was on with his father. I can't remember because I don't actually watch it, believe it or not. So I only know him from Instagram. But Manny,
Well, they were on season 1 in the US, I think. Right?
Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know. That's what I'm saying. I don't really watch it. I knew him from because apparently Mark Brickwold had mentioned when he came on to our stream, I believe, that he might have been on either our stream or I was on someone else's stream and Mark was there. But I talked about shaving my beard off for charity. So it might have been Austiff's charity stream. Either way, he said you should get Manny, because he's a hairdresser for a living, to shave it off at Brickworld. And I was like, I don't know who that is, but kind of went, yeah, amazing, good idea. And then I went out and looked for this Manny guy to try and find out. And I was going to reach out and say, look, if I'd raise some money for charity, would you do this? And we'll make a spectacle of it. But I just thought, like, who am I? Like, who's going to come and see that? Nobody even knows I am. So I was just like, no, I don't want to blow smoke up my own backside. We'll just leave it. And of course, we didn't raise the amount of money needed anyway, so it didn't matter. But so yeah, when I was looking him up and I sort of found out who he was or whatever, realized I thought, great. Thought nothing of it. Didn't even know he was going to Brickworld. And basically, I was walking around. I think I was with Slurpy, and he shouted across the hall to me. I heard someone going, hey, hey, hey. And I was just like...
I was about to put up a fisticuffs, like, whoa.
Yeah.
And I was like, I thought it was going to kick off. So I was ready, like, and that's why Slurpy dashed it probably. But so I turned round and I was like, you're talking to me, like, and then I recognized him and he was like, come here, come here, come here. So I went over and I was like, and he's like, oh yeah, so he started talking about something. And in his words, right, I might be paraphrasing it because I can't remember exactly what he said, but his words were something along the lines of, I saw the other day walking down one of the hallways, and I think you're really cool. I like your style. So I just wanted to give you one of these. And it was like a little flower on a pedestal type thing, a little flower pot on a pedestal. And he said, these are the things that I'm giving out to other people's marks. Come and look at my mark. And he said, do you know who I am? I said, I got to be honest, as I know of you, whatever. I started talking about the show and what we do and stuff like that. And he was like telling me a little bit about himself. And I said, all I know is that you're the guy who does this. And as soon as I did that, he was like, oh my God. Because he was doing an Instagram show where there was 4 of them. I think they were all, and they did this thing where they were putting this in the corner. So each of them did it. And I said, I know you from that. And it's only because I'd watched that video a couple of weeks before when I was trying to find out who he was. But he was just like, oh my God, like, oh yeah, just so, as if like you're one of my followers. And he was just kind of, and it was great. It was a really good interaction, one of my favorite interactions. I do plan to do something when I'm talking about Brickworld when I get around to sort of doing some highlights talking about it, because it was great. It was a really sort of natural, organic interaction. And again, yeah, so I walked away with one of these things and I was just like, and then as I was going around the hall and I was seeing them dotted around on different mocks, so I was like, oh, I got this off Manny from, and people were just like, how did you get that? And I was like, he liked my style. They were just like, yeah, no, really though. I like,
yeah, I think it's
that's hard to believe.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think. I think I've given them to just like, people that are just, I meet them and they're really cool and I just want to say, here's something to remember me by.
Yeah. No,
we're all Lego nerds, so here's some Lego.
No, it's fantastic, and I like this is cool. So I got to say, next year I think I'm going to try and make a better effort to, I might even
always say I'll have a better effort, and I never do it.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm not even. There's a low chance that I'm going anyway. But if I was to ever go back, I think I would probably invest in this. And there's 2 reasons for that. One is because I think it's fantastic, and now that I've heard more about it, I'm invested in it. I'm behind it 100%. But also because I don't think I spent enough time looking at mocks, and considering the fact that's like 70% of what Brickworld is about, in terms of like what you can see and do. And the guys will say the same thing, that we just didn't spend nowhere near enough time just appreciating the mocks.
You know what the best time to look at mocks are?
I look back
2 in the morning.
Like it's like 2 or 3 in the morning or 5 in the morning when no one's there.
I tried walking around. Like I was like, oh, I can't sleep. Brackets, I can't sleep, but I want to make the most of my time. So I'd walk around the floor and I'm like, I'm like, mate, I'll do each section a night. And then you end up getting into like a conversation where you can't exit with some guy who's inebriated. And it's like, I'm talking to him for about an hour and a half about.
Why are you talking to Whittakee?
That's the way he left. But like, I said to myself, I'm going to go around and video every mock, and I'm going to make a video. I'm going to make a YouTube video today only for me. No, I think I only covered like
It's
a quarter.
It's gonna be like a 3-hour video.
It's too long because like I wanted to like my first time, but then I kind of like I thought to myself,
Night,
if I
Nimble.
go next year, see you later, Nimble. If I go next year, or whatever, I'm going to make a concerted effort to go around and see the MOCs more. Again, I was completely amazed. I think for me, the great ball contraption, like because I've seen one of them here, but to see it like at that scale with participants from probably the same as like what's it, the new Hashima, for participants probably from all around the world
We
working on it,
actually,
and it's like
my husband used to like doing GBC, and I do it with him too. But it's hard on you because when the public's there, you have to be with your GBC.
yeah,
Because as much as there's Tom Atkinson, who's the guy who's kind of like the grandfather of GBC, very nice guy. It's there's these rules, like, and they're totally legit rules that, if your GBC starts spilling, leaking balls all over the place, you have to fix it or remove it. And you can't do that if you're not there. So you have to be there. And as well built as any GBC is, it's going to leak balls. Balls will get flung. So we used to call it being a GBC pit minion, or, a ball minion, that you're just constantly just cleaning up the, 1 or 2 balls. But there's so many balls at a large con like that. It's a lot. I mean, I still have friends that do it. And I'm just like, I don't know how you guys do this. I get exhausted from doing it with the public, but it is just like, you can sit there and stare at it for hours.
That might have been just because like I love the technical side, like when like motorized stuff, and that's why I kind of got annoyed, because I would see some of the MOCs, say like at night, where they're the person isn't they spent 5 or 6 hours of the day, as you say, cleaning up parts. They're not going to stay at night to run those machines. So like there were some of those, like the great ball, I think it was like a guy's, I don't know who actually, but it was like shooting balls in the air and it was like landing down the other side, but there was like a good gap, and I don't know if it was you, Cool Han, but someone was like, where are they coming from? And it's like, it's from there, like 2 feet away. And I was amazed at like, oh yeah, every single one was like landing fine.
Did you see the one where they teleported? I mean, I could see how
it
worked.
Oh my,
they went through like a Stargate type thing, and then they came out the other side, and I was just like,
yeah, I've seen that one.
No, that really,
so
yeah.
It is such a hard theme to build too, because at the end of the day, no matter how well you design it, it will eventually break. And that was the thing, like you had to do maintenance on them in between events, because what happens is that when you run something that long, the gears will start making plastic dust, and that plastic dust will get all over the axles, and it will get into the motor. So if you don't clean it up after every event, because those things will run, for the good 6 hours every day during public hours, and then you'll probably run them for, a night, doing the World of Lights, they'll put the UV balls in there. So you will get so much plastic dust in there, and that grimes everything up. And then your GBC will fail at the next convention if you don't clean it up. So it's like you need to be dedicated, and it's pretty hardcore.
Wow. Well, no, like going back briefly to what you were saying, because like I don't even think about things like this. So the fact that you've got such a wealth of knowledge in the hobby is, this could have quite easily been a 10-hour episode. But I think it is quite interesting, because I've heard a few people say something similar to what you and Slurpy has mentioned it a few times, where he wants to go down in the night and just kind of. Now, I'm the complete opposite. As you guys have probably worked out, I do better when I'm kind of interacting with people and I'm kind of come out of myself a little bit. If I went down there in the middle of the night, I would probably just kind of, I don't know. I enjoyed it more when it was like a couple of people were saying like, oh, don't, it's better to see the MOCs now, because when it's public days, it'll be a nightmare. And maybe it's just because of the work I do or whatever it was.
Yeah, I can't go. I get claustrophobic on the public days.
Well, I do get claustrophobic in certain situations, but in a situation like that where you're quite confident in what you sort of and what and being able to interact and talk to people. So I actually found the public days, in terms of walking around enjoying the MOCs and talking to other people who were enjoying the MOCs, I found that a better experience personally. And I think I haven't heard anybody else say that, but I was like looking at some of the mocks and chatting to the person who made the mock, for example, and then like a little kid would come up, and then I'd be like joking around with the little kid, because it's obviously, you know, I work in a store that, you know, we primarily aimed at children, young children, like what the stuff we sell. So I'm interacting with children all the time. So it's kind of natural for me. And obviously I do these volunteer at these brick events where we do these events for kids within the event, like building a bag and these competitions and stuff. And it's, you've got to be like interactive with the kids and be able to kind of speak on their level. So for me, I found that really nourishing and exciting to be like there and seeing other people's love for things and being able to interact.
I just get like in the morning on a Saturday, like the Saturday morning rush, I get claustrophobic. So I usually won't come in until like lunchtime, because it's just so, and I get it. It's because, you know, and it's just, I just get kind of overwhelmed. But yeah, I like, when we do New Ashima stuff, like usually someone's always there. We always have one person there. But that's always fun because people are just like, jaws drop, and these kids are like, is this all Lego? And it's like, all Lego, all Lego.
So again, you've seamlessly moved us into the next section. So do you want to throw those pictures up, Slurpy, so that we can talk about this collaboration, or so you can talk about this collaboration, should I say? Because I think this is like, this is. Oh,
it's epic, and it. We always had the joke that it's called Yono. You only knew Ashima once, but we still knew Ashima. So
yeah, so there's obviously a community within a community here in terms of everything going on. But I kind of get this sort of theme, but I'm just interested to know sort of where this whole idea came from, how it kind of.
Oh, there's lore. There is lore here.
Okay.
So back in 2013. At Brick Fair, Virginia, a group of AFOL mockers made a cyberpunk city they called it Cyber City, and they actually called themselves Brolug. That's why I have their old logo here with the Duplo thing. And they made this cool cyberpunk city, and they never did it again. And several of the people that built for it are actually now Lego designers. So I mean, these were really great mockers, and. Wow. There is this subtle, how do I say this? There's this rumor that Nick Voss, who's the designer of Ninjago City, there's a rumor that he was at Brick Fair that year and saw it. I don't know if that's true or not. So Stefan Formentino, great builder. He was a castle guy. He lives in a state next to me in Alabama. He's about 2 hours away from me. Fabulous builder. He saw the article, I think it was on the Brothers Brick it's in the archive from 2013, and he saw this and he's like, I want to do something like this. And there's an actual standard, we call it the cube, and he resurrected that standard, and he started building this. And I think it was 2020 for we had a local brick fair in Alabama that would come down. Todd doesn't come down anymore, but that's okay. He brought out his little corner. And it's not a little corner. It's a good, probably 3 feet by 3 feet packed full cyberpunk city that was really tall. And I went over and I'm just like, I love this. And we start talking. I didn't know him very well at that point, but we had said hi a few times before at previous Brick Fair events. And he's like, well, I'm going to do this as a collab. And I'm like, I want in. And then COVID happened. That was literally February 2020. So everything shut down the next week. And then 2022, the event Brick Fair comes back to Alabama, and now it's doubled in size. And he's like, we're doing a collab. And he ended up saying, I want to do this because they did the Cyber City in 2013. I want to do a 10-year celebration at Brick World and have the most biggest epic, Cyberpunk City collab ever. So I think we had 90 builders worldwide, but 60 that came. A lot of people ship their stuff. So we had 60 builders there, and this was actually our Atlanta version of it. And it was epic, absolutely epic.
You'll have to tell Slurpy if you want any specific pictures.
Yeah, so if you could go this one was now we have our own con here in Atlanta. And so we actually brought it back out for Atlanta twice now. So this is actually a smaller version, but I mean, the amount of detail that every builder brings is just, it's nuts. So that's just a small corner from the Atlanta one.
And just to put this into perspective, anybody who's spoken to, right, let me see if I get the names right. True Squadron, Lego Men 360, and Behind the Brick, they did a collaboration between the three of them where they, they didn't, it was a Star Wars one, but they Tucktails, and they didn't meet up until the day and then sort of put it together. And they talked to me in some kind of detail about how tough that was to be able to kind of, I know it's Lego and it's kind of like there's a system. So you kind of, it's not like, there's bespoke sort of measurements and stuff. If it's 16 by 16, it's 16 by 16 anywhere in the world, right? I get that. But still for them, even taking that into consideration, putting that together was like, a bit of a minefield for them. 60 people?
90.
Just,
yeah,
sorry, 90 people, but yeah, but then 60 of them actually being there, it's just like, wow.
Yeah, that's Atlanta. But yeah, I mean, there's just every grimy detail up to, and then you go up top and there's like, the skyscrapers. But yeah, I mean, we spent hours making trash piles for the water. That's how crazy we were. There's floating trash piles.
Yeah.
Wait,
what the?
We had to go around and put floating trash piles.
Like this here, like like that there, yeah.
I don't think that's one of my trash piles, but me and like 3 other people, every time we set up at the end, that's the last thing you do is you make trash piles. So we just have bins of like, foliage and like random pieces that would look good as garbage piles just to give that realism.
Is that what? Wait, so is that something that actually exists? Because this is a fictional place, right?
Yeah. So actually, Stefan got the idea to call it New Hashima because there's an actual island in Japan called Hashima, which was a mining facility in the 50s and 60s.
Right.
And they Mitsubishi owned it and they abandoned it. So it's just like this island that you can tour now with these abandoned like apartment complexes. So the whole thing is that, in the near future, everyone's stuck on Hashima Island and they build a big cyberpunk city. So
right. Okay. Because we don't have trash floating around in our rivers here. So that kind of caught me out there.
Yeah, so it's kind of part of the cyberpunk genre that we're not taking. It's not supposed to be super far in the future. It's supposed to be near future, where like the world's kind of overpopulated and stuff like that. If you look at things like Blade Runner, pretty much any
Akira,
kind of like Akira, Ghost in the Shell, that is kind of the vibes that we're going for. Which I love color, and to me, I'm like, yes, I'm going to build something obnoxiously colorful. But these are Stefan's buildings. I mean, I don't know how he got all those chrome.
Yeah.
Gold,
I was going to ask, like this is the kind of thing that if I saw this, I wouldn't even want to look at it because I'm like, there's too much here, and I'm not going to like.
This is where I get overwhelmed. This is where I get overwhelmed because I'm like, I can't appreciate this because I want to see the whole thing. I'm one of those people who, on those games you used to play where you had to explore, I couldn't just zip through the level. I had to see it all. When I played Sonic the Hedgehog, I had to go everywhere. When I played Mario, I had to go everywhere. And with something like this, I'm like,
but that's the fun thing.
I gotta see it all or none of it.
It's set up for a whole weekend, and this was at Atlanta Brick Con where I think they close the doors at night at 10 p.m. But that's what I love about cons is that when you have something like I was at the Mordor, not the Mordor, the what was the tower?
Barad-dûr.
No, the other one, the one that Isengard. Yeah, like Brickworld this year. Like I had to come back and look at it 3 or 4 times to try to get it all in. But that's great when you're there all weekend. Like there's no rush. Like you can kind of look at one thing at a time. So
is that a really tall one? I think I can picture myself with that. I think pretty cool that was.
Oh, that was me. You were probably stood next to me.
So yeah, this is the one we did in 2024 Atlanta Brick Con.
Because so what's the scale of this? Sorry, what's the scale of this? Because it's hard to tell from that angle.
It's minifig scale.
No, but what I'm saying is that how tall is the tallest building?
Hey Brian, how big was the newish Brick World one? What were the dimensions? My husband can tell me.
No, well, the triangle's 80 by 80 by 80. Then you had the 80 by 90 and the 80 by 80. And then the...
Can you just, like... It was a triangle.
Okay. It's a triangle, 8 base plates on each side.
So the inner city is a triangle that's eight base plates on each side. And then off the triangle, there's
3 sector tables.
There's
that are 8 base plates.
Yeah, there's 3 sector tables that are 8 base plates by 8 base plates square.
Jesus, what?
Yeah,
What? That's
And
probably bigger
I'm trying to
than,
think,
bigger than my town.
And then how tall was it with German Simon's tower?
It was 14 feet.
14 feet.
14 feet.
Wow.
That was
Is that
at
here?
Not in this one. At the one at if you look at the Nuashima Damon's I'm having a brain fart album. That's just all the ones from that was the Brick World one was the biggest one. So
Just to put it into perspective, guys, 14 feet, that's 3 Whittakees.
I'm sorry, we're using the terrible imperial system that somehow we can't let go of.
No, we use that for high tier as well, believe it or not.
Alright.
So,
You're
but
trying to sound 4.5 feet.
no, your math is off there, mate.
Am I?
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean it's huge and
Well, by half a foot.
No, so that's not on the table. That's not including the table. That's just the bottom of the Lego to the highest tower, 14 foot. Not
at the one at Brick World.
Jesus.
So is that
This one
2020?
is
Is
from
that the one is that the photo album that's labeled? I don't want to be jumping right now if this is still here, but is that the album that's New Hashima Cyberpunk City?
Yeah.
We'll get to that because I don't know. This is you know what I mean. Like for us, like mere like I don't even I mock a little bit, but I'm not going to sit back and say like looking at this like I mock too. Like this is insane.
I'm not going to do any mocks anymore.
I would retire from like I wouldn't even
throwing all mine in the
bag.
This is why I've never began.
Jesus. I mean, I'm not a big cities person anyway, and I don't particularly like buildings in terms of buy-in and
The thing here
but
is
this is just fantastic.
some people just built one cube, or some people build a lot more. So it's really about how much you can do. And again, Stefan's been building this city, his portion. He's been building it since like 2020 or no more, like 2019. So he's been working on this now for 6 some years. This didn't happen.
I couldn't do this in 6 lifetimes. But yeah, this is madness. What are those pink bubble things? How have they done that? What element is that?
That's a video. That's actually my friend Dana's. That's his. Yeah. So they're just the video cubes.
Oh, I know. Sorry, the theme video, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And he just has pink lights behind it.
It's so. Mate, this is.
You know what I mean? Like it's like you see stuff like this, like nice parts usage, and then it's like, who would think of this? You know what I mean?
I'm going to be laying in bed tonight, awake, not being able to sleep, and just like, how? It's just it's unfathomable to me. So
the building next to that one.
This one here.
No, that's actually mine, but no, other direction to the left. So those are the friend or not the friends, the Disney princess storybooks.
The blue one, yeah.
Oh, right.
Oh yeah.
Folded completely flat.
What the hell? It's
blue. Yeah.
It's such a. I mean, you'd have to have every element. I mean, how many? This is probably more Lego than I've ever seen in this entire mark.
How was this done?
Those are EL.
So
again, the lighting elements are not Lego. What people would do a lot is they would take LED light wire and they would run them through like either clips or Technic holes to make signs.
See, I remember seeing photos of this because this was a Brick World. I know this one isn't, but New Hashima was at Brick World 2023, and I remember I think it was the World of Lights. I think it was, and I was like, that looks pretty cool. And then I seen people beside it, and I was like, huh?
Yeah,
What?
some pictures you look at, or even when you look at it at Brick World, and you'd be like, "Is that a movie set?" Like it look from distance, like it looks like
That's
a city.
Jesus.
Like this is kind of like this. Like this is the kind of thing. Like if like a mock builder looked at, they're like, "All right, I'm done. Pack it in."
No,
boys."
I mean,
Like,
here's the thing.
this is
Like
class.
I saw what he built, and I got inspired. And to me, that's what mocking's all about: seeing something cool and be like, "I want to do something like that." You know, not a copy, but getting inspired from it.
No, I mean, if I was the size of a Lego minifig, I don't think I'd be lost in there forever. It's just it's such a metropolis of different things and different layers and different forms
and
of
that's why I love
transport.
this over like a traditional city, because you'll go to like events and people will bring out like traditional Lego towns, and to me this is a lot more fun, a lot more colorful, a lot more ways to tell stories. I made if you look there's a cult right there I made all in white with the Ninjago snake staffs. Like we made cults. We have gangs. We have different gangs.
Yeah.
Gangs with like the
cult. Right.
Yeah,
I was looking for a horse.
Yeah, it's a cult.
Yeah. Okay.
I thought it was a pistol. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's a cult I made where she's end of times, just weird things. Like we had different gangs. We had a gang that had all the different bear heads on them. So like one had the panda bear head, one had the colorful bear head, one had just like the regular brown bear head on it, and they all had like leather jackets and baseball. So that's like the trauma team from the Cyberpunk video game. So my friend actually made that ship, and then Simon Liu made the hospital. And he custom made those figs with just like decals.
See, I would like. I want to be like shrunk down to a Lego man and run around the city in like GTA. Like I want to, no offense. Like I want to crash into stuff and be like, oh damn, let's see if we can scrounge up. Like this is
absolutely. Hey, and look, I'll put a PSA out there now while Meredith is having a sidebar conversation. Anybody who's coming on the show in future and wants to show us their Lego city, don't bother, because you're wasting your time. I'll tell you now, it's shit in comparison to this. So,
like if you come on and it's like, look at my Lego city.
Listen, I mean,
it's modular. Get it.
Everyone Lego.
It doesn't matter to me. It doesn't matter if it's big or small. If they built it and they like it, then
yes.
No, I know.
One of my good friends says everyone Legos in their own way. So
I know, but this is like when you used to go to like school or something, and it was like everybody had to bake something. And like you bring like I don't know, you made like little cupcakes, and you come in, you see some guy coming up towards the school with a massive cake, and you'd be like, forget that, eat them. Like I'm not even bringing mine. You know what I mean? It's just
you do your PowerPoint the night before, and this person's been working on it since like the semester, before Christmas, and you're like, oh hell no, we ain't passing,
Yeah.
This is I can't get over it. And Meredith, if there's anything here that's yours.
So if you go straight back, in between those two buildings, I made like Bauhaus style. If you go straight in the middle, I made like a Bauhaus style one up. That's mine too, right there. That was like I called it a K-pop or a J-pop or K-pop band. Like they genetically make the band people. That was my backstory for that white building with all the blues and pinks, and then the one above it is kind of like a Bauhaus style, but I made
Wait a sec. Someone got their washing hanging out that window. What's that? What the? There's two pairs of trousers. What? That's
the vibe.
This. The more I look at this, the more stuff I'm seeing. Sorry to have cut you off.
No, that's the whole thing. That's the fun. You get to see all the details. So those are a couple, and then you kind of can't see much else. But if you keep clicking through, I'll show you some more.
Yeah, because it was yours the building that was flat on one side and then sloped on the other?
No.
What do you call him? The cult outside?
No, that was not mine. That's Stefan's building. I just put the cult in front of his building.
Because that looks a lot like building an island.
Yeah. No, that's our friend Nate's stuff.
Wow.
Modulex. That
that
building
corner.
in the corner is all Modulex. If you zoom in,
What's what's that?
Modulex is a really small Lego.
Oh, the wee mini bricks.
Yeah, so all that tan stuff there is the wee mini bricks, and he collected Modulex forever.
What the heck?
I don't even know what I'm looking at. I gotta be honest. If you showed me this, I could have looked at this for half an hour before even knowing it was Lego. Because I don't
This
recognize
brick,
any of the. Oh yeah, I can see now. But when you were looking at that building, man, this is...
And look at the garbage piles.
Yeah.
Yeah. You see, that's not something you really see here in the UK. So that did throw me for a loop. And
yeah,
I've never
you
been
guys
to
actually,
Japan,
live in a civilized country.
I mean, the difference is that if that was in the UK, the water would be
Wee
brown,
bricks.
though. So
Yeah,
there
I still wouldn't
there is-
like to drink out of the Thames.
yeah, there's still there's filth in there, but it's already been liquidized. So that's our problem. But go to the top of that building there. It looks
Yeah,
like
that's cool.
Flash's headquarters or something.
Yeah. That's
What the hell?
insane.
Looks like a robot's head.
Hey,
That's so
Dr.
good.
Doofenshmirtz from Venus and Ferb or whatever. Like,
Look at the one next to it. That
Yeah,
with
it looks
the
like
orange.
that's all coral and salmon.
God damn! Oh, this is crazy. What's hanging out
all
the
these
window on that
look at
building
all
on
these
the right?
legs, like.
Yeah, it's supposed
Yeah,
to be like
that's-
people
oh my
putting their
God.
clothing out to dry.
That is
cool.
a class. Yeah, that's so good.
And the little air conditioning units outside, and
That's yeah.
Yeah,
don't see that over here. See,
that
Yeah,
guy, the way that kid is looking. Look at the kid, right, with the Mickey Mouse, shout to Mickey Mouse, hoodie on. The way he's looking at that is the way I'm going to be thinking about this probably for the next 6 weeks. When I'm just literally like,
Huh?
oh,
What the
I
heck,
can't believe
man?
it. Oh
Insane.
man.
Yeah, look at this. Look at this. Excuse the
I-
pixels. I'm still buying them.
Yeah. Yeah, you need to put a plug into a fresh potato, mate. I think.
what's all these people down here with the masks on, or like grey?
It's a pirate.
Where?
The ones to the
Oh yeah.
to the left
yeah.
with all the grey. Yeah, look like night hats.
Oh, they look hazardous waste collectors. But even the
Yeah,
cars, they've got that kind of cyberpunk type Akira style to them, where it's kind of low drop. You know, the bumpers low drop. I don't know. You know, I'm probably butchering the way it's really how you really.
Give me
refer
about
to it.
2 minutes. I need to go run to the bathroom.
No,
Yeah,
yeah,
Go ahead. Go ahead.
glazing this.
Look at it. Is that a drug addict kind of like spaced out there, sat down? Do you see the guy there with the blue
I
bandana?
was waiting for you to say, "Oh, look, it's Whittakee."
Oh, he doesn't
got-
look that
he's
sick.
He's gone out for a quick medicinal smoke.
that's cool.
It looks
Han,
like
and
Brent.
he
It
going
looks
out-
like Brent's next to him with his.
That's like going out to
hand.
check if you're still alive. Like,
Like this truck thing here that kind of looks a little bit like, you know, Japanese version of Optimus Prime.
yeah.
Like at a glance, I didn't even know that was Lego. I thought someone had left a toy car in there, and thought, well, I can't get away with this. But you know, when you start looking at it, and you're thinking, but even the style of it, so it looks like something you see in like a futuristic movie. So it's not like, you know, floating and like, you know, 3,000
Yeah.
years in the future. It's like 50, 60, maybe 100 years in the future, where we haven't moved that far beyond, like, you know, the rubber wheel, but the build itself, or the and to get that level of detail.
I was going to say,
It just
Amy
blows my
just
mind.
said she needs to restart it to beginning. Well, you might have to watch part 1 first for 5 minutes.
Yeah, see if you can
Oh,
make
actually,
anything
skip
out.
part 1. Just go straight on to part 2.
Oh mate, we gotta keep zooming in and trying to find cool little details, because I could spend all day looking at this, and these are like, it's mind blowing.
Where's the-
So this wasn't a brick world, right?
No, this is. I'm gonna see whenever Meredith comes back. I'll just double check, but I think this might be the Brickworld one.
I mean,
I'll
that was
just-
like when it was the World of Lights, when they had all the.
Yeah.
That last.
So
that
this
other
is
picture.
what Meredith's husband said. So that's the
Right,
inner
so that's
city.
the frame of it.
So
the
that is colossal, and that's just the inner city, and then obviously they built around it.
yeah.
So like
Wow.
that's a lifetime's work for me just there. I mean, I don't think I've even seen that many Lego bricks. It's just like structurally though, where do you start? Like you need to have an architecture degree just to be able to build something like this. Because I know Lego is pretty sturdy, but you still got to have some. You can't just put brick on top of brick.
You've used like Duplo bricks because I've seen people do that. They where you can't see it, and they use the big Duplo bricks just to make it strong.
Yeah, but I'm just talking about
I
you know
never
where they got
thought
the
of that.
framing. They've got the framing on the outside for where this kind of I don't know this tram system probably goes around the outside. So the inside is hollow.
So I'm
It's
laughing
just-
at Papa Rex. What happened with the first stream was print bricks on the panel.
Yeah, so if you go back to that picture that you were on, the previous one. So this is Brick World.
2023, yeah.
If you go one more back. So those are my builds from that. That's I call it the friendly corner because it's all very friends colored. But yeah, I mean, this was a 2.5 day marathon setup. Like,
wow.
People were like, oh, you can do parts dress and this and that. It's like, I don't have time. I have to go back and help.
Did you say it was the next one across?
No, go one more back or go forward. Sorry.
This?
Nope. That's my corner.
Yeah.
That pagoda looks amazing.
I can't. It won't let me zoom in too much, right?
I'm sorry.
So obviously,
yeah,
it must feel great when you're building it and it all looks good. How do you feel when you have to take it apart?
I don't.
I don't want to do it.
Sometimes I don't take things apart. Like I still have most of that all together. The pagoda actually fell apart, so I don't have it anymore. I'm gonna rebuild it. But unless I really need the elements, I keep the ones I like, and I like all these. And because we keep doing sort of offshoot projects from it, I keep them together. I don't keep all my MOCs together, but I've kept all these together. But there's just been MOCs I didn't end up not wanting to use and stuff like that. So you take them apart. In fact, I had one MOC that I've been picking apart slowly every time I need parts.
It's crazy. So wait. So let me just kind of because obviously this is what I'm seeing is blowing my mind to the point where I'm struggling to take in. Like I'm getting overwhelmed. I gotta be honest. But so do you guys? You did this as a collaboration, but you did it for several events throughout the year. And is this something you get together and do again?
So that's kind of, how do I say that? The idea was that this was supposed to be special for Brick World only. Sorry, my daughter's stepping on a dog toy. But how do I say this? Kind of it's Stefan's baby. So Stefan has his own sector. He has his own 8x8 base plate sector part of the city. So he shows that quite frequently. And when he comes over here to Atlanta, we'll team up and we'll put, because now we have our own inner city, our own triangle. We had a group in Bricking Bavaria that did their own version of it with a lot of the people that were at Brick World. They did that in 2024. There was a team down in Australia that did their own. And then there was a team, I think, at Bricktastic that did their own. However, kind of at the end of the day, I think we're trying to keep the name New Hashima special for Brick World because we're going to do another whole new city in 2033. So every 10 years. But we kind of we did end up doing one in Atlanta. We called it Neo Atlanta. I joke that every great city needs a great suburb because that's what Atlanta is. It's one big suburb. So yeah. But again, Stefan will always keep showing his, he's the mayor, he's the dad of New Hashima. But, when he comes around, he's very gracious to let, myself and my husband and some other people, some of the other builders that are still in the Southeast that have done this to join forces with him. But so yeah, this is the setup. So that was the space dock. So right there.
Oh my god.
Yeah, this was.
I don't even think I could stand up. I think I'd have to have a sit down.
And the issue here is when you start stacking Legos this high, do you know what a tolerance stack is?
We were just talking about this. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. You start running into tolerance stack, and it made it hard. It made it really. That's why it took extra long. The guy who made the Cyberpunk train that goes through the docks, I mean, it is gorgeous. He's one of probably the best builders in the world. His name is Blake Foster. But his train was just so gorgeous, but it was pretty heavy. And what no one realizes is that when you run train track, 9-volt train track off the top of 4 feet of Lego Technic cube stacks, it's hard to balance. He was ballasting that train for the whole 2 days.
Jesus. Yeah,
which I have a new rule now.
The absolute weight of some of these, though, like is
yeah.
I have a new rule. I do not allow trains above the. I don't want trains anywhere but on the table because it's just like it's hard. Baby, sorry.
I was saying you'd need like a structural engineer degree to be able to just kind of where do you start in terms of like knowing what? Because I've seen like large scale mocks, and I think the guys were saying about with the Tucktails thing where when it gets so
talking, I'm just grabbing something.
When the guys were talking to me, and I think it was like Lego Man 360 was talking to me a little bit, and he was having a sweat on, but he was saying that even though this Lego all fits together, when you start putting like massive amounts of Lego under such weight together, you start getting that kind of creak, and it starts kind of bowing. And even though it's supposed to be Lego to Lego, when you're doing 2 or 3, the amount of stress that you're putting on that Lego, and I mean, you guys saw that mock, right? It was kind of like the size of a table. It was kind of big. But when you're doing something like this, like how do you allow for that tolerance and stuff?
Yeah, is there going to be pieces that are like ruined? Like when you take like you take the bottom of like a building off, it's like, oh yeah, all these pieces are now out of shape from just the weight. You know? Oh, what the heck?
Whoops. Oh, sorry. I think that might be me.
Sorry, you're back.
I was trying to throw you up full screen.
Back in 2013, they made this cube. It's a lot of Technic. It's this black part here. Right. So that's what we call a cube. And everything's laid out by 1 cube. So you can build 2 cubes, and you just build 2 cubes. And then what goes on top of it's called a topper. And my husband, actually, we're both engineers, but I'm not a mechanical engineer. I'm a chemical engineer, but my husband's electrical engineer and knows enough mechanical. He actually redesigned. He's great at Technic. He redesigned the cube. And I think he got up to like 200 pounds on one of them before it failed. Like dumbbells. I mean, Technic is really Technic. When you do Technic overlaid with a plate to keep it together, it's like the strongest. It's stronger than just basic Technic. It's the plate on Technic or the plate on studs. It makes it really strong. So these actually just friction fit. You can see, sorry, it's so dusty, that a little bit sticks up right here. And whoever designed this back in 2013 made it so that there's a little bit of a gap there. So it just falls in place right here.
What the hell?
There's a little gap right where that Technic rod is. So that perfectly syncs up to that top.
Wait, hold it there a sec. Hold it there a sec. I can see where you've got the back on the front, the back, the pink things on the side there. Mm-hmm. I can't see what they are. And is it like the back of a Lego plate that you've got?
So this is Scala. Lego Scala. Yeah.
What the hell? The usage of parts is just blowing my mind.
I had a lot of fun. This one's a little funky. Probably not cyberpunk per se, but I was having fun with Coral.
Oh, look, there's some Luke's land speeder.
Yeah, there's the lights. They're actually
oh yeah.
There's
one's popped
there's
off. Yeah.
LEDs in here. There's an LED in here, so they were like the lights outside of it.
It's just fantastic. And what did you say?
Yeah, everyone builds to this cube, and you can build 2 wide.
Right. So that's the system.
But it's a system, and that's how. And you lay out everything by cubes.
Here's the empty cube.
Here's the empty cube. So, and then if you watch, hold on 1 second. Hopefully, we can get it to click. When I put them on top of each other, and there's my light stuff. Did you hear the click?
Yeah.
Everybody, I've now officially resigned from Lego. There's nothing I can do to make any impact in the world of Lego that's going to compare to this stuff. It's crazy.
So yeah, that's the cube, and that was the metric we used.
What did you say the weight was?
How much did you get a cube to hold? You said like 100, 150, 200 pounds?
But a good bit of, I don't remember.
We don't remember. He had a bunch of dumbbells on it.
150 pounds. For anybody watching at home, that's 20 Whittakees. 20 Whittakees I can hold.
You have to like break out a hydraulic press to like, right, let's see what can it really take, you know.
He just had the leftover COVID exercise dumbbells he was using.
This is mind-blowing stuff.
I'm gonna
If
pass
I'm
it
being
back
used
to
as
my
a measure of weight, can I pattern it, please?
I'm sorry?
Patent it, yeah.
Yeah.
No, I mean,
Oh, man.
actually, the instructions. If you go to the Rebel Lug website, I think they have a version of the cube available. Instructions.
Right. Oh,
Free.
okay.
Also, they're not hiding their
if you would
secrets.
if you would like the upgraded version that my husband designed, he has a PDF of instructions I can send out too. But there it is. That's mostly done.
Wow.
Jesus.
I mean, it was just that. So we had one offshoot that was to the left. That was the spaceport docks, and then straight in front of you, that's what was called Old Town. It was kind of like a slum, and then we had Stefan's kind of upscale Sector 8. So,
Jesus.
Yeah, like
I'm starting to get a nosebleed. I just can't. I can't get my head around it. I've seen some fantastic stuff in Lego in my time, right? And I've been in and out of the hobby, but you know, I've been a fan of Legos for the best part of sort of 42, 43 years. And this is like an awakening, seeing this stuff. I mean, I saw some fantastic mocks at Brickworld, but you're just seeing them. And I talked a little bit about them. Okay, great, whatever. It's about this, it's about that. But seeing it in this detail and finding out what goes into it, asking these questions, getting these questions answered, and seeing like the science that goes behind it, the time, the money, the love, the passion. It's like I've just found out that I've got
you took the red pill, man. It's like, damn, there's another side to this Lego.
The red pill, that's it. I was gonna say I've been colorblind all this time, and now I can see properly, kind of thing. But I gotta say, I really appreciate you coming on and showing us all this stuff, because it does blow my mind. But at the same time, it's like it's made me realize. And like, quick shout out to Kirsty, my fiance. She's not been very well. I was going to say to her, if she's ever going to watch a show in full, she should watch this one, because I knew that she would like the kind of thing that you're doing, PinkWheels, and like your kind of aesthetic. Unfortunately, she hasn't been very well, but she always says to me, I don't know how you guys can talk week after week after week about the same thing, about Lego. There can't be that much to talk about. And this would be a perfect reason why, because like everything in here is an education to me. And you know, like I said, we could talk about this stuff for 10 hours.
Yeah.
It just goes to show that you know everything about, you think you know everything about something until, you know, you meet the right person who can say, no, this is Lego, you know? So
you just know, like, if you push one of these buildings on someone, like, they're ending up in the, you know, A&E, like some of this stuff is like I can't get over this. Like that guy to scale there.
There was a picture of Blake inside the docks ballasting the train. Sorry, we're just having some talk about whether or not. Yeah, that's if you guys do watch Lego Masters US, that is Ben Grayson. He was the runner-up on season 5 that just finished about a month ago.
I can't remember if he was the guy who was at the panel at Brickworld for Brickmaster, because
he might have been. I don't remember.
I recognize him.
Yeah, he was on Lego Masters this past season.
A&E is, you would call it the ER in the US. Whoops.
Yes.
Oh,
do you like a pink wheel part? Hold on a second. I had it on my badge, but I lost it. They make a pink. They have a pink wheel cover that they made for Speed Champions, but they recolored it pink to do in the Singapore architecture set. As like, remember those tree sculptures that they have, the tree buildings they have in Singapore? And then they made one, I think, a light pink one for the roller skate set.
Wow.
But yeah, that's stud. I left a little pink wheel. I used to have them. I don't have very many of them left. But I used to leave a pink wheel on a little stand. But
he's not that tall, this guy though. Like he's like
he's a tall guy. He is not a short guy.
That's oh my
So
god.
if you look behind him, up there, that's where it was 14 feet right there behind him on that tower.
Eclectic.
If he'd had 2 Whittakees on his shoulder, it still wouldn't be high enough.
Oh my days.
Yeah, this is crazy.
This is kind of like, I feel like, you ever go to like a city, like, you know, you're in London, New York, and like there's those buildings where you actually like just keep moving your head back, and it's like, oh,
Yeah.
wow, this building keeps going up.
Break my neck.
That's what some of these are like. It's like, what am I like?
Do you know? I feel even worse about myself now that I didn't get a chance to chat to PinkWheels in person when we got to Brickworld. Do you guys know that we actually saw PinkWheels when we were at Brickworld?
And I was really tired. I was like, what?
Wait, were we there?
Yeah, we were dashing. Yeah, we didn't. So basically, what happened is this: we were obviously doing our usual and ripping into each other, or ripping into Whittakee and talking and chatting. And we were coming down. I believe we were coming down for breakfast. And I remember we were making a beeline. It was that day we went for breakfast, and we thought they were stopping breakfast at a certain time. I believe it was like, and we thought it was 10. Pretend that was 10:30. So we came out of the lift and were just dashing across to the restaurant. And as we came out of the lift and were crossing the lounge, the foyer, I happened to turn around and I saw you sort of stood at the lift block, sort of stood there, and you did look a bit kind of like sheepish or whatever. And I was just like, hi. But then and you said hello back. And then I thought afterwards, she probably doesn't know who I am because I recognized you, but obviously you might not have necessarily recognized me. And I was conscious of that while I was out there. And obviously, you know, it happened the other way around. People would come to me and say, hello, how are you doing, Cool Han? And I'd be like, I have no idea who this person is. So I was like, hi. And you were like, hi. And I was like, and then kind of afterwards, I was like, oh, she probably doesn't know who I am, but I'll bump into her again. No problem. And then, of course, we didn't. So I was kind of, gutted about that.
So a little backstory. I actually had to have chemo a year and a half ago. And what they don't tell you is chemo actually kind of nukes your memory as well. So I went from having a really good memory to having kind of like an 8-year-old person's memory. Sometimes it makes you slow. So I'm sorry.
Do you want to talk about your...
Yeah, I mean, I got diagnosed with breast cancer. Literally, I found out a month before Brickworld of this 2023. So literally, I just found out about it, and they're like, "You can go on vacation." I'm like, "Great." I found out in May. So, and then I went and did New Ashima, and then I came back home and I started treatment. So, it really sucks.
And how is that going?
How do I just say this? Because when they did my mastectomy, they found one of my lymph nodes positive. So they did not see that in the MRI. How do I say this? It's like the lymph nodes are the highway of the body. And when you get cancer, when the cancer starts to leak into the lymph nodes, there's no certainty that there's still not cancer cells floating around your body, which is why I had to do chemo. So I really can't say that I am what's called PCR or pathological complete response. I have to say I'm NED, no evidence of disease. But the wonderful thing is that there's been a lot of fantastic research by the US's wonderful National Institute of Health over the last 10, 15 years. And I'm on quite a few drugs now. And that's what people also don't realize, that when you have a cancer that's hormonally, mine was hormonally driven. So it was being powered by estrogen. So now I am a, 60-year-old menopausal lady, that the best way to prevent it from coming back, because they can't say that I don't have cancer cells anymore, is to put me on a drug that blocks all of the estrogen in my body. So I have to take that for the next, I've been on it for 1.5 years. So I have 8.5 more years to go. I have to take it for 10 years. Yeah. And then I take another drug called Verzenio, which is the butt of many jokes in my household. because it blocks another protein that cancers use to grow. So it's called a targeted therapy versus chemo, which is not. Chemo kills everything, and a targeted therapy for cancers is usually just, it's a nasty drug, but it only will target certain areas, and it targets this protein that cancer and your white blood cells love. So that's why I also don't go to a lot of public hours, because I still have a suppressed immune system. But that also gives me digestive problems. Which is not fun. Right. So it's the butt of many jokes in my house. But yeah, it sucks.
I feel you there.
Yeah, the interesting thing is that you know, I came out public because people, you know, at Brick World would be like, why are you bald now? So I kind of like, I let most people know that, like, you know, I had cancer and I'm gonna have chemo, and next time you see me, I'll look like Gollum's older sister, because like literally I didn't go fully bald. Like I had these, like I was like the Homer Simpson strands. Like I had like these 5 strands that held on, so I looked like Gollum. I looked like Gollum's older sister. So but that's when it comes back to the AFOL community. Like there is a guy in my lug, he is a fabulous builder too, and I've been friends with him for years now. He ended up getting testicular cancer. He's about 10 years older than me. So he got testicular cancer in his early 40s. And so every day during chemo, he would text me to say like, hey, how are you doing? Just want to check in. You know, I had people across the world, AFOLs across the world, that would just message me like, hey, how's it going? Want to know how I was feeling. So it's just, I mean, I don't want to say lemonade at 11 crap, but you know, I felt a lot of love, and that really helped. So, no,
look, I haven't been through anything like that, and I couldn't even begin to imagine. And obviously, it's great to hear that story. If I watched the episode of Full of Brick, and I can't remember whether it was the episode after the episode I was on or the episode before. Either way, I remember tuning in because I'd heard about you and sort of seen your name in the community, and I was like, right, I'll check this one out, and I did. And the story blew me away. And I know I reached out to you soon afterwards and said, look, I'd love to get you on the show. I thought your story and, you know, what you've been through was really inspiring, and, you know, really sort of, it was just a sort of heartwarming sort of situation and whatever. And I remember reaching out to you back then. And obviously, you know, you were on the list then, if you like, for people to come on. So this is a kind of like a fan favorite thing for me. And of course, it was, no, honestly, so all I do is I encourage people who are watching this to go and check out that episode of Full of Brick, because you do go into, you know, a lot more detail. That's not to say that you can't hear, but, you know, we've got so much to talk about that, you know, is Lego oriented. But I do want to highlight it. Like, I've mentioned to these guys, I don't think I've made it public as such, but now that I can, Kirsty's mother was diagnosed with breast cancer on Christmas Eve. Christmas just gone. And she broke the news to us on Boxing Day, which was quite. Kirsty's already lost her father. She lost her father. He was only like 56. So, you know, a long time ago, about 10 years ago now. So, you know, for her to be in a situation like that with her parent, like I've still got both my parents, thank God. And, you know, it's tough for her to go through that, and obviously even more tough for her mother. So we were originally supposed to be getting married August the 18th this year, which we put off, postponed, purely because, you know, her mother wasn't going to be at that point in any fit state. So we took her out for a day out recently because she's finished her round of chemotherapy. So she got like a photo of her ringing a bell. She's not in the clear yet. Obviously, she's still got more to do. I think she's got to do radiology next or something like that. I'm not 100% sure. But she had the lymph nodes. I think she had the lymph nodes removed altogether. So I know a little bit about that, but nowhere near enough as I probably should. And I've suffered from a situation completely separate where I basically petrified now. I've got PTSD from a hospital situation I was in a year or so ago. So when they start talking about stuff like that, I kind of have to leave the room because it just, you know, I turn white. I can listen to so much, so I'm not trying to say that, you know, what the stuff you were talking about, that's completely different. It's more when it gets into the detail of what was taken out, what was put in, and I'm like, oh, I can't even talking about it. But
what I will say is please take care of yourself too. My husband had a really hard time with it, and how do I say this? I mean, it's just as traumatic when it's like your very close loved one, especially if, you know, if you're doing a lot of the caretaking, it's traumatic for the caretaker as well. So, you know, please make sure your wife's, your partner is taking care of her mental health too. Like, I was really lucky. My friend Chris, who had a testicular, he's a pastor, he's a youth minister. So he already knows like how to do therapy and stuff like that. So he would call Brian, my husband, and, you know, talk him through, because, like, you know, dealing with mortality is like, you know, we don't think about this in your 20s and your 30s and your 40s. Like, you just don't think about mortality. So hopefully that wasn't too traumatic for you here. I don't want to
no, not at all. No, not at all.
But please make sure she's taking care of herself as well.
Yeah, look, I know it's been a tough time for her. We've had other setbacks recently as well, which haven't really helped. And like you were just saying then about the whole sort of digestive issue, these guys know as well. But I'm currently going through some investigation because it looks like I might have either celiac or IBS. Thankfully, the doctors have eliminated some of the more serious things that it could have been, such as like bowel disease and stuff like that. But we're still at the point where we're trying to work out what it is. Either way, I have been having some issues as well. So we're kind of with that going on. And obviously we're trying to now plan for the wedding next year. And then Kirsty was made redundant from her job, and like everything just seemed to be going on at once. And it's been like, but to see the point of all that is to say that to see people like yourself, you know, have gone through something like that personally, you know, much more serious than anything that, you know, I'm talking about. And just kind of be able to make light of it. And I just want to throw something up, because
if you can't laugh at it, why bother being here?
Well, this is what I want to say, because I took this from, do you mind me showing this? This is a clip of your Instagram profile.
Sure.
This is the actual, what you've got on your Instagram profile. So I know it's not private, so I'd like to think you won't have an issue with it, but I'm going to throw it up anyway, because I just looked at it and it made me kind of almost laugh, but almost cry at the same time. But this was kind of, so if you don't already you don't already follow PinkWheels on Instagram, after everything you've seen, what the hell's wrong with you? But go ahead and do that now. But I thought this was fantastic.
Yeah.
My boobs tried to kill me. Please feel it on the first and get your mammograms, cancerism and content. I mean, that goes, obviously not specifically, but that goes for blokes out there as well. And we do try to do these. Yeah. We did it early on in the show where we did these PSAs about mental health and stuff. And if I'm honest, we probably have fallen out of place with that a little bit. We don't want to make the show about that, but we do like try to check in on things like mental health and stuff. And that is a perfect example of blokes and women. Please check your bits. And
especially colorectal, I know, but colorectal and breast cancer and what they call early onset cancer or early onset patients, meaning patients under 50, under 45. It's raising, at least in the US, I think the UK has similar stats, like 2.5% year over year from like the last 4 or 5 years. So please, like, if you don't feel good, if you feel a lump or, you know, you just don't feel good and you're in your, 20s, 30s or 40s, please make sure you talk to your doctor. And if your doctor doesn't take you serious and you don't feel well, go talk to another doctor. I mean, I'm on the breast cancer subreddit forum, and there's women in their 20s finding lumps and being told you're too young to have breast cancer. And that's certainly not the truth anymore. And the same thing with colorectal. I mean, there's people getting colorectal in their 30s. So please, get all your screenings. I'd suggest to your partner to see if she should get her genetic screening to see if, she has, and they're still finding new mutations. So like, BRCA is the most one that's associated with breast cancer and ovarian cancer. So, definitely, get your genetics tested if it's in your family. Because the other thing is that BRCA also causes ovarian cancer. So it's not just breast cancer, and there's other, cancers now that they can test for. So, please, you have to be proactive. I think probably in the coming years, you guys have a fantastic medical system. So hopefully they'll try to
No, we have a free medical system.
I know.
We don't have a
Well, let's just
fantastic
say
one.
I've spent $10,000 this year alone on
Yeah, and look,
payments and stuff. So
we've had this conversation in the past
Yeah.
to kind of change the subject
it's not
a
a
little
perfect
bit. But
system, but
I don't think there is a perfect system when it comes to health.
No.
But
just
we
like
had
there
the kind
is
of debate.
judging
We had a
like
debate
the
whether.
war.
No, absolutely. But I think, to me, everybody in the UK would probably say they'd rather pay and get a good level of service. And then people in the US would say they'd rather have something free than have to pay. But trust me, I don't think there's, unless
There is not. And I think our system, at least in the US, needs to go to a little bit more of a collective system, and having that option to go to private. It's like, you get calls before you go into treatment saying, if you don't pay your bill right now, we're not, they can't necessarily block you, but they're heavy arming you into it.
Yeah.
So, that's not a great feeling, especially for people who are on fixed incomes and stuff like that, or people who are out of work. So
there's like jokes about that, like really horrible ones where it's like, oh, we
PPC.
finally did your heart transplant. Here's the bill. It's like, I can't pay it. And then like doctor opens up your shit, like
takes it out.
Take it out. It's like, oh, but like I think for us it's just more, it works here. It's just you have to wait.
You have to work the system too. Yeah.
Whittakee, you okay, mate?
Yeah.
So look, guys, a couple of people have been sharing their stories in the comments. If you want to say something, Whittakee, go ahead, mate. But otherwise, we'll get back to the Lego.
Yeah, please.
I'm sorry.
That's right.
Yeah, look, obviously we didn't mean it to sort of go down the direction of, but I think, yeah. Look, when it comes to sharing people's stories, everybody's got one. I know that it upsets me a little bit sometimes talking about some of this stuff. And look, guys, if anybody out there has been affected, I'd like to say we've got a structure, something in place where we can support you. We haven't, but what I would say is obviously, like, take the advice we've given on the screen today, and obviously I can see just scrolling through the comments that people are talking about, they've lost loved ones and whatever. It is what it is, but I think the best advice we could give, or Meredith said it perfectly, is do those checks, eliminate that kind of risk, and obviously as you get older, things get more challenging. So how are we doing, Dre? So anyway, we'll move on. We'll get back to the Lego. We'll get back on the up and up. And look, it is a sensitive and negative subject line, but we have my appreciation is the fact that you make light of it really well, especially with that Instagram profile, which I think is really good. It takes a brave person to be able to put something like that on their profile. So
yeah,
but yeah, so
definitely whenever I read it, I was like, what the? But in a way, like, that's I mean, like, if you can't, I mean, everyone's different, but like, some people, they can laugh about it, like, too, If you can't laugh, you can't live, is what some say. Well,
yeah, I mean, and it's easy for people to say that, but if I tend to make light of everything, but I don't know whether I'd be like that if I went through something like that. It's I know that I've been, I've lost sleep over what I'm going through at the moment. It pales in comparison to some of the stuff we've been talking about. But just knowing that I'm going to have, stomach problems probably for the rest of my life, it just, it does upset you. It's hard to make joke of that, and I haven't been able to yet, but hopefully one day I will. So, but there we go. Anyway, let's get on to some juicy Lego. So we've done M.O.C. Well, I do want to come back to M.O.C. briefly. I know we've got sort of, I am going to try and still go for the 3-hour slot, even though we started a bit late. And Meredith, if you're got other things to do, then please don't feel attached. But
I'm good for about 25 more minutes.
Perfect. So there is a little bit I want to do about M.O.C, but I really want to cover this because we did customs. We did M.O.C in terms of the M.O.C that you're a representative of, but we haven't done P.A.B or the Pick-a-Brick thing. So I don't know, again, just like everything else you've spoken about, I don't really know enough about this, but I've heard bits and pieces, so I kind of know what.
Should I bring up the article about it?
Or I can give you a really high level. What it comes down to is before the US Customs would say, like, if I want to order something from a small seller in the EU, UK, China, Japan, Korea, wherever, that if I'm ordering something that's small from a small business, or not a small business in general, but a small order that's under $800, that it wasn't worth it for the US government to spend the time to collect a tariff on that. And, you know, whatever side of the, you know, fence you're on politically, you know, now they have changed that rule and said, no, anything that anybody buys it from the US, in Europe, they've already did it for China, because what the goal was that, you know, we have Temu and Shein and all these Chinese, a lot of the fast fashion and Amazon drop sellers that don't have distribution in the US, that you can go on Temu. And I'm terrible because that's where I get my glasses, my prescription glasses. I get it from a company in China. I send them my prescription from my eye doctor, and they have very cheap frames, and they can make the lenses there, and then they ship it over to me. And, you know, it's only $150 for a couple of pair of glasses, so I don't pay tariff on that. But the business is all in China. So they want to start cutting off those businesses, rightfully or wrongfully so. You know, I can see it both ways. But I think the issue is that they didn't really, how do I say, think about this. The government didn't set up a way to say, okay, I'm going to go on the P.A.B service, or I'm going to go on Bricklink and go to a German Bricklink store and buy $300. I'm going to place a $300 order. There's really not the paperwork and the mechanism set up with DHL to collect the tariff that's owed on that $300 order. Because again, beforehand, if I ordered something over $800, they would collect the tariff. They have the paperwork and the forms and the way to collect that money. You know, all the postal systems in the world connected and had that ability to do that, because it, you know, not everything being shipped that way was, you know, from seller to seller, business to business, wasn't, you know, small. So it was the larger orders, and, you know, you had someone on staff that would fill out your paperwork and you'd pay your tariffs and you'd go. So now that's not existing for small orders. So because I want to say, I don't know where Pick-a-Brick, usually for us in the US, if you order the standard parts, come from, I want to say Billund, Germany. I think the lug service, which I'm not allowed to talk about, comes from Germany. So there's no ways to, you know, there's no mechanism, there's no bureaucracy in place for any of these international postal systems to support the collecting of the small tariff that we have to pay. Well, now it's a little bit bigger because the tariffs are higher, but there's no, as I said, there's no bureaucracy or mechanism or anything. So I can't order right now from any international Bricklink stores, and because the Lego P.A.B standard service comes from Billund, or comes from Denmark, or it comes from Germany, I can't order for that right now either, because again, those postal systems do not have the bureaucracy set up to do this for the smaller orders, if that makes sense.
Because I was still a bit bewildered by it, because I've used it maybe once or twice, because I just didn't find it very user-friendly in comparison to Bricklink.
Oh, it's terrible.
And this was a while back. I know they've changed it and upgraded it since then. So you're talking probably 5 or 6 years ago, and it was like you got to scroll through, and there was no real search. You had to know what the name of the piece was, and that's not always the case. Especially back then, I didn't. Like, I'll know now that something is a 7L axle or whatever, but then I didn't, and I'm like, what do I call this? And, you know, I still know very little, you know, when it comes to Elements official names. And it was just, I thought, I can't do this. And I basically just scrolled until I saw pieces I wanted and maybe changed the color, and that was it. And I just thought, I haven't got a fraction of what I need here. Bricklink at that point, and obviously now even, was leaps and bounds in terms of finding things. And even to the point where, if you know what set it belongs to, it's relatively easy. You just type in that set, you go through the inventory, you identify it, it's in color order, it's usually in sort of size order, whatever, or you can change that yourself, and then boom, you add it to your basket, and it's, you know, it's Fisher Price. But so I haven't got enough experience in this to kind of see. And so are you saying that this is only really affecting the US?
In Canada, our poor Canadian brothers and sisters got thrown into I don't know about Mexico, but I know Canada.
Oh,
my
okay.
friends in Canada can't use it either. It's something they're just like flat out, we're not doing it right now, period. They are building a new Lego factory here in the US in Richmond, Virginia. But at the end of the day, I don't know what elements are going to be made there because they don't make everything from every factory. Like,
Oh yeah.
you know, some sets have to come from different factories no matter where you are in the world, because some factories may only be making whatever set they're making because that's what the elements that they have. So I don't know what's going to happen. I think, not to say anything disparaging, but I suspect that because a lot of people, like, I bought from Etsy shops in the UK several times. I bought from Etsy shops and I think in Germany as well, just like other stuff. And I can't do that now. I think there's going to be a lot of public outcry that this wasn't executed in a manner where, like, I think they've sort of known, but because things have been so up in the air, because, you know, our president will say one thing and then his advisors finally get it to him that this is not a good idea, and he backs off. So there was no, how do I say, I don't think anyone thought this really was going to go through, that it was going to be finalized, and he kept them in place. And now no one's made that system or bureaucracy. There's no one's made that system or bureaucracy. So I don't know. This is how we've been living in the U.S. It's like, you know, is he going to pull the trigger on those tariffs or not? We don't know. So I mean, you could get an uproar from all the Etsy people saying I can't buy from my favorite Etsy maker in Europe anymore. So,
well, you're saying anymore, but this is saying paused. So we don't expect this to be like, it's not permanent. I know you might have already mentioned this. You kind of highlight this, but
yeah.
So,
I mean, here's the thing: like, no one knows things aren't running smoothly in the U.S. Like, because of the upheaval politically, things are just not running smoothly. So if you do have to do all this new paperwork and have this new bureaucracy with customs, the U.S. customs agencies, I just don't know how quickly that's going to happen.
Right. So it's a red tape situation, and there's no kind of sight of it, being cut.
No one was prepared for said red tape, and I don't have faith that they're going to get through the red tape quickly. So I don't see this as something that's going to clear up soon.
I don't keep up to date with politics. I told a story on here recently about how I didn't even know we'd had a new prime minister till a stand-up comic happened to compare himself to this person, and I was like, who's even talking about? And everybody else was laughing except for me and Kirsty. And I'm actually kind of proud of that to some degree. I think during lockdown, we were kind of the whole Trump thing and everything that was going on in the US, regardless of what side you may or may not be on. It was kind of forced down our throats through social media. And, I made a step change then in terms of politics as a whole, whether it be, the US or the UK, to just cut myself off from everything, and actively went and said, right, anything that's given me this information, block, report, whatever. And it did change things. I stopped using Facebook, where I seem to be seeing a lot of it, sort of longer form media. And it has put me out of touch with things. So like this, I'm like, I don't get it. And now just from you explaining it, I know it's from that decision that was made, a while back or whatever. But it is just crazy to think that, because from what I did learn, and again, you'll have to educate me on this, from what I did learn from sort of, secondhand information and stuff, there was they wanted to sort of close off the borders in terms of dealing with other countries. That was the plan, right?
The plan is to, how do I say this politely? Because again, I have my own personal views. The intention was, it's a good intention to try to have more manufacturing in the US. Like, during COVID, like we don't have factories that make masks. Like, you're screwed, So there is that aspect. Like, yes, you need some home manufacturing. You can't just, it's a strategic and security thing. If there's another outbreak and you don't have anyone that's making masks and everyone's homesick, No one's going to be shipping you masks. Like, you know, we need to have domestic supplies of certain goods, and that I completely agree with. But the execution, so to speak, wasn't done. It was done with a chainsaw versus the scalpel that should have been used. So instead of going after the bad actors, like the Xi'ans that drop ship from China at super cheap prices, instead of, you know, developing policies on them, we just have new tariffs that are blanketed, you know, across countries, with very little rhyme or reason. And then sometimes they get taken off or delayed. So then the whole market's like, well, we don't know what's going to happen. And, you know, if it's delaying that tariff for 4 more months. So it's a lot of uncertainty. And that's unfortunately affecting the job market in the US, because I work with US retailers, and, you know, they're just pulling their hair out because they don't know if the tariff for this country is going to, you know, if it's going to be active or not, or they're going to negotiate a new one. So as I said, you know, could you have definitely done something to, you know, affect some of the bad actors that were, you know, have an unfair advantage here in the US from overseas? Absolutely. Is it being done in the right way? Absolutely not. You can't take a chainsaw to a problem that needs a scalpel.
Yeah. Look, something similar happened in the UK. I say happened, something similar is kind of going on in the UK. And again, this is limited knowledge, so don't quote me on any of this stuff. But people complain all the time because obviously the UK was, you know, on the forefront of industry at one point. You know, we built the biggest ships. You know, we ended slavery in the UK. You know, we just, you know, we did all these things that kind of revolutionized.
We used to be the bastion of sports cars. My dad had a Triumph and an MG.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm not a car guy, but I know enough to think when it came to building something, you know, like I said, ships, tanks, all that kind of stuff, we led the way. And I'm not even talking military. I'm just talking like, you know, things like that were developed. But we've lost industry now. So industry almost doesn't exist in terms of like laborious industry. You know, we had coal mines, we had the tin works, we had the copper works, we had all these things that, you know, and we've still got these industrial towns that still exist, these valleys, these Birminghams, these places around the world where this industry kind of threshold still exists, but there's no industry there anymore. It's all gone overseas. And people are saying all the time, like, oh, we need to bring back. And I'm like, you don't understand that it's not that easy. This is a generational thing. This is a generational thing. We can't just suddenly start. If we were to cut as a country, if we were to cut off all the industry, the supply things from us from outside the country and keep it all internal, the country would collapse overnight. Because I don't think people realize how much they rely on everything. You know, talking about like getting rid of plastics overnight and stuff. And it's like, you know, and stopping oil process, and like it's like it's, you know, there's a lot that goes into it and stuff like that. And it's just like, you know, these people who are like ban plastics, and it's like modern medicine would not exist without plastic.
It would not. It would not.
You couldn't make a syringe without plastic.
There was a really great article. I don't remember where it was. I think it was in the Atlantic, talking about, you know, I know Apple does good things and Apple does bad things, you know. But one of the things that Apple, the Foxconn that made the Apple products I still think they make the Apple products in China for Apple. Like they were explaining that the workers that they have in the factory, they used to be unskilled, right? Just like random people. You want a cool factory, you want a good paying factory job, here you go. A lot with China and all these companies, you know, whether they're Apple or Samsung, especially the electronic companies, the workers are now skilled. Like they were describing it as like 20% artistry and like 70% like skilled labor, like being a welder, like just the things that you need to do some of this machining. And there was another article in I think it was the Atlantic as well, talking about how like we don't have those people. We haven't trained them up in the US. So to make these complex electronics, you need this type of skilled labor that China, you know, obviously they were getting all this business and realizing that this unskilled labor could not effectively manufacture these types of products. So that you know, both the investments from the various international companies they trained up this labor force pretty much, mostly for Apple, but then obviously it bled over to other industries to do this type of machining and work. And so even if Apple wanted to suddenly say, okay, we're going to move all of our manufacturing back to North America or back to the US, they don't have the technical people, the skilled labor to work on these manufacturing lines that is needed. We don't have them trained. We can't. So there's structural things that are going on. You can't flip a switch. So as I said, it needed a scalpel versus a chainsaw, but we're using a chainsaw right now, and it's unfortunately causing a lot of angst and uncertainty. And then you look at a lot of industry that we have gotten back, and a lot of it is like a lot of the car manufacturing in the US is that the tier suppliers or some of the subcategories or components, they're being manufactured elsewhere. And then the US is either doing sub-assemblies or full assemblies. Well, because those pieces are coming from other countries, because we don't make that steel or we don't make that aluminum type anymore because we don't have it, we can't buy it from the US.
Yeah.
It's still affecting those jobs that we do have a lot of car manufacturing here now in the US. I mean, there's tons. In the Southeast alone, there's, we have 2 or 3 Hyundai plants. We have a huge BMW plant over in South Carolina. We have Nissan, we have Toyota. They make all the Camrys there. Another Honda one over in Alabama. So there's a lot of, when talking about the US domestic car manufacturing, they moved that, at least the main assembly and assembly portion, and a lot of the tier suppliers are manufacturing back in the US, but a lot of the components and raw materials still have to come from overseas because we just don't have either the capabilities or we don't have the capabilities anymore. We don't have the foundries or the smelting to make that component. So it was good intentions, but it's not the way to go for.
Hey, and look, I'm not a politics guy, and apologies, guys, if we've kind of sidestepped Lego there a little bit, but I do industry, and I do like to talk about this kind of stuff because I read a book recently on, I think the book was titled, the book that we sell in my store, I think the War on Plastic or something like that, and it's completely different really from what we're talking about in terms of industry and stuff, but I just like these kind of topics and go into them a little bit, but we won't, obviously Lego podcast. I think it is important to talk about it because obviously I don't know enough about it in terms of how it's affecting P.A.B. You can see a couple of comments in here, particularly I'm going to shout out Smokey, and this is the second time Smokey's put it in there. So I believe they genuinely want somebody I thought it was a joke to start with, but they genuinely want somebody to order their P.A.B. and send it across to them. So try and sort that out for you, Smokey, if you get in touch. But yeah, it is obviously it's fun. Lego podcast, or maybe I should start a new sort of podcast talking about the downfall of industry across the world. But
the politics
between
of Lego.
between now and then, we'll just try to end on a bit of a high note. So I'm going to flash up a couple of. I picked out some mocks of yours, and I made sure that they were yours as well, just to kind of showcase them to some people. And these are some of my favorites. I did say to the guys that they should do the same. Whether they got a chance to or not, I don't know, because I know they were quite busy. But these are just a few of my favorites. So we got this boy. And I know everybody knows, and this is a hot take for some people. Everybody knows I love mechs. I love the Star Wars mechs. I love mechs in general. This is where I'd go if I was a mock builder. But look at this with the dolphin. The dolphin is the pilot of this mech.
So I made this during a charity for Creations for Charity live stream I think it was 2 years ago, and it was live auctioned.
Yeah. Well, really? Oh wow. Okay. So how much did it make?
I think someone bought it for like $45. A friend of mine bought it for $45.
Oh,
I'd have bought that.
Yeah.
I'd have bought that for $45. That's really cool. And again, when we think that you've finally told us everything about every finger you've had in a pie, now you're also auctioning off sets for charity, which is like
it's actually a builder named I can't remember his name. They actually do it worldwide. And so I'm pretty sure they partner, I think, with Charity Bricks in the UK, but they do, builders will build something and all the money goes into a pot and they buy Lego sets for, obviously children of usually of families that, don't have as much means. So that can give the kids Legos on Christmas. And I just said Legos. Yeah, it's worldwide. They do it. I think a part of their team is in Europe, and then the guy who runs it's here in the States. But they do distribution of sets for kids both in Europe and EU and EU, UK, and I think North and South America. So it's called Curations for Charity. It's a great organization. You can buy MOCs. Usually they start, I think, the first day of November.
Wow. So guys, go and look that up. I'll try and get the link for that and try and share it, because that sounds cool. Sounds really cool to get involved with. So that was
Can I hear one? Oh.
All right, let me just do this one because I've kind of already pressed the button on it. Wait a sec. Now I'm a Studio Ghibli fan.
Oh.
Don't ask me every question, but in this house we do My Neighbor Totoro, or Totoro, depending on how you say it. But I say Totoro, so My Neighbor Totoro, we do this. And I've done a cross stitch of, I'll have to show you because I do cross stitching. I don't know if you know what that is, but
yes.
I've done a cross stitch of this, and it's tiny, and I did it whilst sort of stood at the till in my job working. And the member of staff who was with me was like, I can't believe you just did that so quickly. And I was like, oh yeah, it's just something I do. But then I look at this and I'm like, okay, I'm throwing my cross stitch in a bin. So yeah, this is really cool and really cool. So this your own design?
Yeah, so in the US we have Teacher Appreciation Week, which I want to say is a week in May, sometime in May, and I'm very blessed that my daughter's school has just awesome teachers. And I tell them, if you need Kleenex, Fanny wipes, a bottle of wine, you tell me, we'll get it for you, because it's just they're fabulous. And I have a hard time dealing with kids in general, like more than one or something like at a time. I don't know how they take care of so many kids and educate them. So I always try to do something cute. And that year, my daughter's teacher loves Studio Ghibli movies. So she says, Mom, can you make me a Totoro to give to my teacher for Teacher Appreciation Week? So we made a Totoro.
Wow. Yeah, I saw that I cut that out so the picture would be better, but I wanted to share that as well if I could have. Just like, my daughter needed this, and just kind of, so this is fantastic. But no, I've got another two. But Slurpy, do you want to throw one of yours up?
Yeah, this one, just because I had to look at it and I'm like, yeah, this kind of fits in the theme. When I say theme of the show, the name of it. This one is yours, called I Need to Take Yours Off, Cool Han.
Oh, wait a sec. Let me get rid of it.
Cool Hand, look. This one was class.
Wait, what? I didn't see that one.
So I actually gave this to Brick Love last year at Brick World. So I don't know if you're familiar with habitats.
Yeah, I've seen people do them with I'm a big space guy, so I would see people do them with the different space factions from yesteryear, or the space CMF from last year. They kind of stack them up like a.
Yep.
Yeah.
So Jen Brick Family Builds she used to do a habitat challenge every month, and I love supporting her because here's the thing about mocking, I think habitats are one of the best things to start at, because it's not a lot of pressure and you can make something basic, you can make something crazy, and it's just an 8x8 area. And you don't need to have a lot of bricks to build it. But I mean, there are some, there were habitats there in the Masterpiece Gallery this year at the Lego House that were just epically well done. It was like a Beauty and the Beast one, and the whole thing ended up to the end where it just Beast and her holding the rose. So I mean, they can it's how do I say, easy to start, hard to master. What I mean? It can become its own high, very just really well done mock to begin with. So Brick Love always makes zombie Star Wars figs, and so I bought his Luke zombie, and I made this habitat for Jen's Halloween, and then Brick Love, I ended up giving it to Brick Love because he's just the guy who makes the customs, because he's just a fabulous guy and he's so nice to me. So I saw him at Brick World and I'm like, he's like, but I can't take this fig from you. You bought this fig. I'm like, no, you take it. And so he'll flash it on a show sometimes. But yeah, no, I just wanted to have like that zombie George who's the guy who made Night of the Living Dead?
George Romero, kind
of like that. If he made a movie poster with zombie Luke, what would it look like? And that was it. And then of course Luke needs hands, right? Because he lost his hand. Cool hand Luke.
I just thought it was.
Is this where you really got your name from, Martin?
It's
cool.
It's not, but I'm looking at this guy looking kind of zombified and looking like half dead, and it's reminding me of somebody. But I just can't.
I wonder who.
Somebody at Brick World.
I think they're
popping out for a medicinal smoke.
It's just the color scheme of it is just so sick looking. Like
it is good,
cool, but also sick as in give it some medicine. But I love that, like, even the twin sons.
Yeah, and the way that and what I hadn't noticed, I've seen these before, but I've never looked at them in enough detail to realize that it's got that clicking system where it kind of overlaps, so you can just click them together without having to take things apart, pull things apart.
Yep.
And they're just, and that simple thing, I'm like,
I didn't design the habitats. It's
I get that. But even something like that is to me is this is why I love this community and why I love Lego, because it's just
Jen has passed the baton. But if you go, I think, to Habitat Challenge or just Google Habitat Challenge Instagram, there's a whole Instagram account where they'll do challenges, and I want to say for some months, I think for Halloween, I think it's Halloween in a few months, they'll do prizes. And it's not who has the best habitat. Is if you build a habitat, you're entered into a raffle and for cool prizes. I mean, there was like $100 Lego sets, $50 Lego cards. So it's like, not only do you have a little fun, but if you post it and tag them, you get entered into the raffle at the end of the month.
That's mad. Yeah, but that's the way it should be. I like things like that, where it's just, respecting people for giving things a go, as opposed to you're better than you, and especially, well, I guess that'd be great for youngsters as well. So this is my next choice, and I believe Natalie was a big fan of this as well, right?
So my daughter loves frogs. She has a frog obsession, and so does Simon Liu, aka the guy, like he's one of the builders I admire. And so him and another, I think a Lego designer, Maxwell Frost, I think, they decided, like, how there's like, Shiptember and stuff like that. And they decided that August will be Frogust. So I needed to build something for Frogust. So I made Lily, the little girl with the little frog girl. So she was just cute. I built her in about 4 hours. I was trying to time myself to do something quickly. So she's just a little frog girl.
She's holding a little flower as well. But I noticed you put in the comments for this that Natalie thought that she was kind of creepy looking. But
yes,
I thought this one was cute. There was another frog, a dark green frog, which I did think was kind of dark looking.
She was kind of. I was trying to go Baba Yaga with her, kind of like the Swamp Witch.
Baba Yaga, nice. So yeah, this one's great. I love the colorway on this. This is fantastic. I'd love to. Do you share your are you a MOCs for yourself kind of person? Do you share your instructions, building things, anything like that?
How do I say this? Like Lily, I have her up here.
She's your baby.
She is full of one stud connections, and her leg actually fell off. She's not really great for a set.
No, well, I'm just thinking, would you be happy with me having to go with this? Because I think
I can shed you pictures how she breaks down and show you how to build her. Her head comes apart, her legs come apart. It's pretty simple.
Yeah, well, simple for some, yeah.
And a very old white brick that says 23 in the back. So, no, I mean, I actually did build one set. I built it for Brick Loot, which is a subscription service. And it was a red panda. I don't have it around, but it's a different type of challenge, and it's a fun challenge trying to build something for a set. Because most mockers and I am a very bad. How do I say this? Politely to myself. I call myself the queen of once dead connections.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
If you
So-
look at it, it'll fall off almost like.
Yes, and my husband also says it's held together by your hopes and dreams. So and that
Craggle.
almost Craggle, yeah. So most mocks are like that, but when you make a mock or something for someone else to build, it's a different set of considerations. You really have to think about the process, think about making sure it's sturdy and stuff like that, which is like I could never work for Lego.
No. Look, I think you'd be surprised, but I guess it's probably the same with this because this is one of my favorites as well. And don't get me wrong, I was only able to scroll down so far before I was like, I'm going to struggle to get my top 20 here. So I did have to try and keep it to 5. But these guys as well. And I think you said that these aren't quite finished either, or I think from the comments, I believe.
That was the mock I brought to Brick World last year. And it was kind of a homage to the Lego Elves theme. So I don't know if any of you have seen the old Lego Elves theme. So I want to kind of do a homage to them. And I was trying to move out of the scale of minifigs. I wanted to move into a different scale. So they're there, and it was just supposed to be like 3 elf girls hanging out. And if you actually go to the picture of the mock, my husband got me what's called Adafruit Pixel NeoPixel LEDs that are programmable, and they had wands, and they had like the clear modified little 1x1 rounds that would like go like that, and he glued the LEDs to the back of them so it looked like there were sparks coming out of their wands.
Jesus.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
I've only picked so many
connections on this, but actually these are kind of my first horror cruxes. The yellow one I gave to Aubrey, aka Maktura. If you know her, she's fabulous. She's a builder. She's probably one of the coolest people I know. The one sitting down went to Emily from Lego Masters season 4. She was like, I think the 3rd runner-up or 4th runner-up. And she's just a fabulous person and lovely. And she saw that I took the mock to Brick Slopes, and I was kind of done with it after that. It was just way too parts intensive, and it was very delicate. So I'm like, I'm just gonna like, you know how people like throw things into a bucket at the end of conventions? I know a lot of builders who build really big mocks sometimes just push the mock into like a big sterilite bin.
Yeah.
I was like, well, I wasn't gonna use it again. And she's like, I really like your mock. And I'm like, Emily, would you like a piece of the mock? And so she wanted a fig, and then so I gave a piece to Aubrey. And then the last one was supposed to go to Nicole, aka Girl Bricks a Lot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm a huge Nicole fan. She actually broke, and the wand broke. So I actually made her a different figure, and I sent that to her, I think, a few weeks ago.
Wow.
But it's fun. It's like, you know, Aubrey had it in the background of some stream, and I'm like, oh, there's my little elf girl. I called her Relda for redheaded Zelda. So it's to me, I think getting a piece of someone else's mock is just, it's a great way to kind of spread your love, and, you know, whatever happens in the future, you know, Aubrey has a piece of me, and Nicole has a piece of me, and Emily has a piece of me, and other people have pieces of me. So, it's just a nice way, you know. I just couldn't. I was having a hard time thinking of good tokens, and I'm just like, I think I gave a tree from the mock to somebody else, and I gave some of the crystals to somebody else. Just, I want, you know, remember me, and hopefully you think this is cool.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I was gonna say, like, it makes me feel really selfish because the last thing I want to do is part with any of my Lego, even one stud. But again, it just goes to show, you know, what kind of person you are in the community.
But here's the thing: the community is so good to me. So it's like,
yeah,
I want to get back. And here's the thing: I think with most people, sometimes you get enough Lego where you're just like, I want to see someone enjoy it and someone build with it. So,
no, 100%. No, look, this is fantastic. I didn't have it. Well, you know, like I said, I could have probably picked 50. But that was it from me. I don't know if you guys had any others. The only other thing I wanted to quickly do, we've got a couple of minutes, is we didn't get a chance to throw up the throne thing. And obviously, we may as well finish. You know, we we're not a Star Wars Lego thing, but
Thrawn
we-
thing's my
we-
favorite.
yeah, you've got to throw that because I got a feeling from the way you were talking about earlier.
I'm gonna get it up.
Yeah, you've got that picture.
I was going
I
to say
think we've
sorry.
covered it.
Sorry to interrupt, but I do need to go. I need to get
Yeah,
off.
no worries.
Yeah. Obviously, there was a couple of questions I wanted to ask, but
Sorry.
No, fire them in, mate. Fire them in.
it was just those two things that I've been asking the guests, haven't I? Every week.
Oh yeah. Go for it. Yeah.
It's very, very quick. It's basically, if you can either have one or the other, Meredith, is nice fancy box art or paper instructions. Which one would you?
Oh, probably the paper instructions.
Okay, let's just write this down. And the other one, I mean, I think it's pretty obvious. Everyone's going for the same thing, but if you could either have jaw molded legs only or arm printing only, which one?
I really have come to having to make a bunch of cyberpunk minifigs. I've come to appreciate having printed legs or just legs that have something to them, because otherwise it's boring to like have a minifig with like a cool print up here and then nothing down there. So I'm gonna have to go with dual molded legs.
Okay, cool.
Is that the first person to do dual molded?
Well,
Wow.
I'm not going to give
Because
that
you
to
don't
results
see
yet.
that, like when you look at a fig, especially straight on, you know, you see the torso print. You don't really see the arm prints as much, and like
No, that's a good point.
like people, we've had to make like so many minifigs to fill up, you know, all the cyberpunk cities, and when you have like a really like you find a really cool print for a torso, and then like you look at your legs and they're all just bland.
Yeah, I can see that as well. Yeah, I
No,
can see
that's
both
I
sides.
really appreciate nice legs.
No, thank you very much. Thank you.
Will.
Right, so I'm going to be off, but really nice to meet
It
you.
was
Meredith.
nice talking to you.
And obviously, I'll do this next week because I ain't got time now.
Oh, mate, sorry. Yeah,
Lots of
sorry.
weeks. Yeah, right. Take care, everyone. Yeah.
Let us
All the
know
best, Whittakee.
let us know the update with your pal as well.
Yeah. Okay, mate. Yeah. Right. Take care, everyone.
All the
Take
best,
care of
lad.
yourself. Thanks, mate.
Take care.
Ta-ra.
Yeah, unfortunately, this is sometimes what happens when we have one particular guest on who is like, you know, one particular host's, you know, kind of dream guest. In this case, being me. So I guess we probably could have just done this podcast between the two of us and kind of like left those guys out. Not that that's what I wanted to do, but no, I'm saying that I've kind of, you know, dominated this thing because it was just so much fun to ask. So I've left Whittakee in the dust, and so I do kind of feel bad about that because we knew he was doing his Boxer Boys, but I just completely forgot. I got carried away with the conversation. But no, let's throw up this throne thing, and then we'll close it out.
Yeah. This is tremendous.
And,
So,
sorry,
do you all
before-
know? Do you all know Boone Langston?
To be honest with you, most of the names you've mentioned throughout this, I don't recognize any of them because I'm not that connected. But
Yeah, he was on the second season of Lego Masters. He used to be a Beyond the Brick correspondent, and now he works for Lego. Like he's now hosting in the US. He's going to be the one of the new judges for Lego Masters. He had a Star Wars competition, and I built this for his Star Wars competition, and I never showed it at a con. And I used the regular minifigs for this. So I have the Thrawn minifigure, and I was really worried about it being taken off the mock, along with my Yularen minifig. So I decided to display it with mini dolls.
how did you get the blue
Costume.
blue head?
Yeah.
I painted it. They're all hand painted.
Never.
Apologies.
Yeah,
The quality's a little bit, as I say, I ran out of
Sorry.
pixels, like, but yeah.
Yeah, I hand painted all the mini dolls.
God damn.
Yeah, what the fuck?
There's a lot of
Well,
people watching this podcast.
I know you're gonna,
either on replay and
when you
who
go
are gonna probably
when you
give
talk
up Lego
about
now.
when you talk about the expanded universe, I love the Thrawn books, and I love that Filoni brought them back. So I'm like, I have to make Thrawn's office. So this was more to the Rebels, not you, because again, I have the Calicari over there in the corner. I have Sabine's graffiti. So I was making it more Rebels, but I love the EU as well.
I was gonna say, is that Arena Spalko from Kingdom of the Crystal Skull there?
Yeah,
looks like her.
No, she was the governor of Lothal. I can't remember her name.
Yeah.
No, she was in the last season of Rebels.
I can't remember her name either. She gets blown up. She gets blown up the same time as Katie.
Gets blown up at the end. Disney.
I never watched Rebels.
Oh, you need to watch Rebels. Like first
spoiler.
The first season, the first half of the first season's a little childish.
Yeah, that's why I stopped.
It's all about catching fruit in like the first couple of episodes.
But if you go to the end of first season, it gets progressively more and more darker. Yeah. And the last season gets very dark to the point I wouldn't let my daughter watch it for like 7 months of like, okay, I think you're old enough now.
Yeah, it is.
Really?
Yeah, it's a lot like Clone Wars, really, in that sense. In that Clone Wars started off very cartoony, very kind of, I wouldn't say slapstick, but it's kind of, it was aimed at kids. And then I think they thought, most of the people watching this are adults or whatever, and they kind of geared it, unless they planned it that way. But it didn't seem like this is like almost a completely different show. But yeah, this is fantastic. I can't believe you hand painted them as well. That's crazy.
Mental. I love that. I would honestly, like, I would buy that, Lauren, because you do not see many Star Wars like Friends mocks, because obviously they don't make minifigures like that. So obviously, as soon as I saw this, I was like, which vendor did you buy this from? What AliExpress dealer? Like, but see, like, hand painted, I was like, oh my god, like.
And this is the thing, because I like originality, as these guys know, and the one thing I struggle with, both whether it's be for the podcast and whatever content, but even when it comes to building things, my own creations, I'm struggling to find something that hasn't already been done. Not because I think I could do it better than anybody else, but I just like the idea of doing something new, and different.
Yep.
And the fact that you've done a crossover between Friends and Star Wars is like, it's just mind blowing to me, because I never even have dreamt of something like that. And
leave.
But no, this is fantastic. So like,
this is great.
Patty, it was just basic acrylic paint, craft paint, and you water it down. If you watch LEV, she shows you how to do it as well. It's just watered down acrylic art paint.
Go down to the plaque on this, because I'm sure the plaque said something funny, if I remember rightly. Or is it not in the picture?
I don't know.
Nah.
Was it not that? There was one where I read the plaque and I was laughing my head off. I can't remember which one it was though. It's something like a funny quote or something on one of the plaques. Because I was trying to check whether it was actually yours, because I know you, and then I realized then, because in some you've taken pictures of like other people's or inspiration from other people's, stuff like that. So I wanted to make sure we were sharing stuff that was obviously yours. But no, this is awesome.
I love it. I obviously, like, Star Wars fans, like, we're going, like, and I don't even watch the show, and I'm like, oh, this is fire. You know what I mean? Like, I think it's class. Like, really good. Really, really good.
Because that's his desk. That's his desk from the show.
Yeah.
He hasn't got that desk in the show. That's his desk from the books, right?
No, he has a desk. The show described his office almost the same as how it looks in the book described his office almost the same. Like, he had artwork, and he loves artwork in Rebels. Like, but in the Rebels show, he actually takes a chunk of graffiti from Lothal and puts it in his office on his ship.
Yeah. No, that's it. Yeah, I remember that bit. I just remember them describing his like desk or whatever it was in the books.
Yeah.
And I remember it being like a multi-layered kind of thing or whatever, and I thought it'd be interesting to see. But I remember when I saw the show, it didn't look quite like I pictured it when I read the books.
I just remember he had the lizard things in the back, and that's how he had it. That's how they had it in Rebels too. And I'm like, gotta get those lizard things.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Look, there's just been so much to take in terms of the quality. And look, I said it earlier. You might not have heard it because I think you were chatting offline, but we tend to have a guest on They talk a little bit about something that they want to cover, and then they just join the general chit chat of the night. This is the first time we've been able to fill a show with guests.
Yeah.
Creativity, content, awards, things that I've been involved with, and that's been I think it's a turning point for this show, and it does set the bar quite high. So I'm really pleased to have had you on.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thanks for carving out the time. Sorry about that delay at the beginning. It's turned into nearly 4 hours as opposed to 3, but we do appreciate you coming on and spending your time, and obviously sharing your story as well, your personal story.
My pleasure. It's lots of fun, and love to it's just fun to meet AFOLs from all over the place, and I love the Welsh flag. I'm in love with it. So.
Well, next time you see me, I don't know whether it'll be Brickworld or whenever we see, let me know. As long as I know I'm going to see you, I'll bring you a Welsh flag, but I'll also try and get you the, I've got some of them here somewhere, the cards and stuff like that. Like I said, there's so many people I saw and kind of spoke to after Brickworld who I saw at Brickworld, and I just didn't have my sig figs on me and stuff like that. And it is frustrating. At one point, I was in a conversation with a lot of people about continuing that exchange, but the cost to send stuff, especially overseas, was just, it's not even worth it, and so that was kind of sad. But it makes him that much more exciting for the next time. So
all my friends tell me I need to come over for Bricktastic and Bricking Bavaria. So I don't know if it'll be next year, but it'll probably be the year after. We'll probably do a European con. This year we're going to do Bricks in the 6th. So.
Well, I've never even done Bricktastic myself. We're all hoping to try and go across
this year for 2026.
I heard it's fantastic. So it's my next one on the list after Bricks in the 6th, which is in Toronto. So.
Right. Okay.
I just want to visit all my AFOL friends and visit. I've made a lot of Canadian friends, so I want to go support their show. And I've met fantastic people from the UK and EU, and I want to go support their shows.
Well, we spent some time with Full of Brick when we were out there, both of those guys, and we've kind of gone. Both myself and Slurpy have had a chance to go on the show, and they're fantastic. And like I said,
the adjusters, the
adjusters. So I think it's you do make some great connections. It's nice to have made a new connection with yourself, guys. If you're watching still, please go down to the description and the link for PinkWheels Instagram account is there. Dub's in the chat for PinkWheels.
Yeah.
And we're going to close this off now. Do you have any sort of closing messages before we go?
I will say, be on the lookout. Talking about, crossing friends with Star Wars. Friendship Timber is coming up here tomorrow. Just a quick blurb. Aubrey Maktura took the idea of Shiptember and made it into a Friendship Timber. It's pretty much build any kind of ship you want. You can people do Star Wars crossovers as their entry, and there's the same thing. There's participation. It's all about participating and being a community, do something fun and silly, with friends. I think Friends is a great theme, and it has the great colors. And some of the mini dolls are just fabulous, especially the elves ones. But if you want to do it again, it's all about participating. So there's going to be some fabulous raffle prizes. Just go to Friendshiptober at Friendshiptember at Instagram and look for it. I'll probably be posting stuff about it too.
Mm-hmm. No, fantastic. And it's funny you say that, because I'm looking over now at a crate of Friends Lego, which we started my daughter on at one point, and she kind of grew out of, but there's a crate of it just sat right there, and I'm thinking to myself, I'm
smelling a TIE fighter or a spaceship.
Yeah, I'm gonna go in and see what I can put together and add it to my other 300 things that I've started and never finished. But anyway, no, look, appreciate your time. Thanks for being here. Hello and goodbye to Natalie, lurking in the background,
She's
and working
with the dog.
And the dog, just quickly showing his face as well, or her face. But yeah, no, appreciate you. Slurpy, you want to do the outro?
Yeah, just everyone, thanks so much for tuning in, and see you all next week.
Oh, and by the way, no black ice tonight, unfortunately, guys. Slurpy, you don't want to do one, do?
No, I'm too tired.
Yeah, no. I thought it would be lit, so I got an early start as well. So no black ice tonight, unfortunately, guys. Wheels, in case you don't know what that is, we do a separate after show stream where people are welcome to come on. It's more of a hangout show, so we tend to do it after the show, but there isn't one tonight. But you're welcome to come along to them at any time. So, but yeah, no Black Ice tonight, guys. But we'll play you out, and we'll see you next week. Next week, I'll do a quick plug. Next week, we're doing is the return of the second collaboration on this show. It's our 50th anniversary, so our 50th show anniversary.
50 years.
50 years of the show, and Whittakee has looked 90 the whole time. But 50 episodes, guys. I think it's something to be shouted about. But we're doing a collaboration with Minifig Mindset, aka Will Bricks Productions, Nick, Mike and Ike, and I always forget the guy's name. What's the third guy in there? He's going to.
I've got like
Third guy.
And the third guy in his. So us three versus those three.
Stooges.
Collaboration. It's going to be a little bit later next week, guys, but I'll get the details out to you as soon as possible.
Yeah.
But we'll see you guys then. 50th show special. Take care.
Bye.